Hi, hello, welcome to Directly to You. It's the 148th episode of Directly to You. What's Directly to You? It's fanatixfour's podcast. Who's fanatixfour? It's me, AJ, also Parker, over there on the
I pointed
other
at the
side.
camera when you said, "It's me, AJ," as if to point to you.
Yeah.
But instead it was like, "It's you, the audience,
It's you,
and me."
It's all of us. It's everyone.
I mean, it is. Like, the amount of comments in Q&A, it's everybody. So
It's
yeah,
true.
that's how it works. Continue.
It's everybody. It's everybody. You can support this channel and everybody in it by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour and twitch.tv/fanatixfour and giving us $4.99. Or for Twitch specifically, if you have Amazon Prime, you can link it to your Twitch account and you get Prime Gaming subs. It's Jeff Bezos saying, yeah, dude, I know you like Twitch. I know you want to support streamers, dude. So I'll give you $4.99 out of my own wallet. He pulls it out of his wallet every time and throws it at whatever screen is closest to him.
I felt on the Amazon thing, before we keep going, I had to return something. Well, we got a new mattress from Amazon, and it's not good. It's like it was super like firm and hard and stuff, and like we've slept super badly the last 3 nights. So we were like, I think we need to return this.
This is Parker building the lore for the mattress sponsorship. When we get a mattress sponsorship, we're pulling this clip.
Yeah, so I called Amazon and I was like, hey, I think we need to return it because it's just like we won't be able to use this, whatever. And they were like, well, we can't take it back because COVID and shipping and it's whatever and all that stuff. So we'll just refund it and hold on to it. And I was like, I'm taking Jeff Bezos' money. This is what we tell everybody to do every week.
I'm going to use my Prime Gaming sub to even take more. This is the tax.
Yeah.
But what you get for that, you get loyalty badges, you get emotes, you get game time with us. Like when I play Super Smash Brothers on stream, and like when we're looking for people in games like Among Us, which we don't really play, but games like that. Whenever we're like, yo, we have spots, who wants to play? Subs have priority. Also, you get to name my Pokemon in the Nuzlocke, and they probably won't die this time because I don't have Grookey. Grookey was the bane of my existence, and the whole reason why I lost.
Is the Nuzlocke going? Is round 2 going better?
Round 2's going a lot better. I didn't do any gyms yet, so maybe Milo will still freaking it'll be real touch and go. But I don't know. I feel like I'm just gonna wreck Milo. Like
you got Score Bunny this time, is that right?
Yeah, I have Score Bunny. Yeah, I have a flying type still. He didn't die. I think I have like close to a full team, if not a full team, and they're all fine. So I think we're going to. They're not good. There's a lot of Pokemon that are not good. Like I have the Squirrel Man. He's not good. And then I have other Pokemon that are like they exist, like Gossifleur. I think I have, which is like whatever. You know what I mean? So it's going. Yeah. But you could join our Discord either way, even if you don't give us Jeff Bezos' money or your own money out of your own pocket, by just clicking the link in the description and you say yo. That's the secret code. It's like the cult thing. You walk in and you say yo, and then you're allowed in.
It's true. I'm imagining a Simpsons reference right now of I can't remember who it is, but I think it's from Homer the Vigilante, where he and Principal Skinner do a secret handshake. So for anybody that watches The Simpsons, you know what I'm talking about. Anybody else? There was a random bunch of words for you.
I'm everybody else.
Yes, it's true.
I know who Homer is and the principal.
I think.
Yeah. I know who they are. Well, I know who Homer is for sure.
Good stuff. Good housekeeping. You did it. Hey, we're playing some games.
We are.
Although most of mine will end up being talked about in later times stuff anyway. But I will say, since we've mentioned the Pokemon Nuzlocke thing, something's got me wanting to play a Pokemon Nuzlocke now, but like of Gen 3 or something. So Mega Man, I'm coming for you. But like I'd like to it would be fun to stream it, but like with us doing stuff with Pokemon, I can't emulate it, and there's no official way to do it. So I'm like, man,
a big nope on that. What you could do, well, I don't know the logistics of this price wise. Do you have a GameCube?
I have a Wii. Oh, yeah, I don't have a GameCube.
There's no Game Boy player for that.
No. I do have a European GameCube in Europe, so that's not going to help us at all. But
would it not? I don't know how that works.
It doesn't.
The Game Boy player is region locked or not.
That's a good question. So the problem is it's 50 hertz instead of 60 hertz.
Yeah,
So it ends up doing
true.
weird stuff.
Yep.
And then like all that.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
So that was the whole reason why. So when we moved, I probably would, long story short, when we moved to the States when I was 10 from France, I had an N64, was playing a bunch of N64 games and stuff. And then the GameCube came out the year we were moving back to the States. And I wanted a GameCube because obviously everybody wants a GameCube. My parents said no, because we're going to be moving back to Europe at some point anyway. So you're not going to get one now because we don't want to spend the money to get one and only have it for 2 years and then whatever. So I didn't get a GameCube. And that was honestly the thing that like I kind of stopped playing games for a little bit around then. Like by the time we moved back to Belgium, I got a GameCube and got a couple games, but really like wasn't in it in the same.
Oh, I got baited. I was about to say that's not bad. I'm on Amazon looking for Game Boy players. And the first thing that pops up is the modem. And I was just looking at the picture. I was like, oh, I mean, right. And it's like $130, which is like a lot, but it's not that much, you know. So it's like that's doable. But it's the modem, so that's not gonna help much. Game Boy player.
I happen to have the cord that connects it. I think that's just like, I don't think that's the Game Boy player. I don't know what it is. But
no, Game Boy. Oh wait, hold on. There's a used one on here for $48.
Game Boy player. I'm looking up what it looks like.
It's like a dock
I see.
sort of
yeah,
thing.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
Oh, but they don't have the startup disc. How much is the startup disc? I feel like the startup disc is.
I see it on eBay for like $78 or something like that. Which
does
still,
it have
like,
the disc?
Looks like it. Who knows if it works, but it's there. But in any case, whatever. Plus $26 shipping. Nobody should put shipping costs anymore. Like that's just included in your price, honestly. Like that's so in any case, as far as games I'm playing, I'm probably going to talk about all of them in Bowser's Fury and stuff like that is one of them, but we'll talk about that in the context of your video, and then something from the Nintendo Direct stuff. Otherwise, that's most of it. Yeah, so that's it for me. Anything you're playing before we get into the news?
I'm playing stuff on stream. So what did I play this week? I played freaking it was Tuesday. Tuesday was the Pokemon Nuzlocke. I got up to the first gym. I did all the like trainer battles on the outside because like when I got, it was like a weird point when I got to the town and I was like, I don't want to do the gym now because like I'm like ready to be done. So I just battled all the trainers and then I got out of there.
Nice.
So that was Tuesday. Wednesday, that was the direct, which we'll talk about. And then after that, I went in Lee's voice chat in his Discord, and he was playing or getting ready to play 3D World with our friend Princess, who's also a streamer. And I was like, well, I don't want to like be like, yo, I'm here, Lee. F off, Princess. You know, so like we can play Mario for a while. So we played 3D World. And then we played Smash, and Princess also played. It was like an open arena. I got rated by Wood, so like it immediately filled up when I was like, all right, we have open arena, and then everybody was just immediately in there.
Nice.
So that was fun. And then
do you Thursday, for that kind of thing, do you continue to play, like, is it just the opponent that cycles out, or do you sometimes just step out completely and it's somebody else?
It's whoever wins, and usually I win. So,
so there are some times where it's just like you commenting on what's other people playing.
So when we first started the arena, I have channel points where people can request characters, and somebody wanted me to play Piranha Plant. The first time I was Piranha Plant, and I beat Lee's Isabelle with Piranha Plant, and then Lee beat my Piranha Plant with his Isabelle. So then I got taken out of the arena. But then I changed to Pokemon Trainer or Min, whoever it was. I don't remember. And then it was just done after that. And then there was like one other set of matches where like, okay, I'm bored of playing this character. I'm going to play my other character now. And then there was like a set of matches where I wasn't playing that. But for the most part, I was just in the ring. So it really didn't matter. So usually that's how, like, I don't really do the whole, which, I mean, to be fair, I don't really do open arenas that often. Usually when I'm streaming Smash Brothers, is like try hard, like me and Falcon or me and Lee more recently, more often. Or we're starting to do like tournaments. Like we were going to do a tournament. That's like a tournament series of like one of the like Melee top players and stuff like that. But it was it conflicted with the direct. The tournament started at 6, so I was like, no, that's not going to work with the direct stream and stuff like that.
Yeah,
because I know we're going to stream the direct. The direct started at 5. It was over at 5:50 or whatever. I know we were going to talk about like, so thoughts. What did everybody think about? So it was 6 wouldn't have worked. So we played Smash, and then Thursday I played 3D World with Bob and Dan and Jerica. Which was also fun. Jerica is in my nightmares because she tried to kill me the entire time.
I mean, that's the way you play. That's how it works,
It was chaos because at a certain point, people like Scooters were coming in and it was like, yo, if you kill Bob right now, I'll get 5 subs. So like, and they would do that. Like they would plant that seed everywhere. So like Scoot would be like, he'll go in the Dan stream. Yo, if you kill AJ, I'll get 5 subs. Go in the Bob stream. Yo, if you kill Dan, I'll get 5 subs. Go into my stream. Yo, if you kill Bob, I'll get 5 subs.
Yeah.
So everyone was just trying to kill everybody. So that was interesting.
That's great. Well, cool. Yeah, good games to be playing. But you mentioned the direct, so let's just talk about the direct, man. Let's do it.
Let's talk about the direct.
Here it comes. So first, before how did I didn't check into the stream other than like a second right at the beginning.
You abandoned us and didn't even check it to make sure we were okay.
How'd the stream go? Did you guys have fun?
It was good. We usually do the same formula where it's like right before the stream, we're like, so what's everybody think? And I was like obviously we were talking about the Nintendo character thing, and people were asking me that even before we started streaming. I was like, who do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be so and so? And I'm like, nah, I think it's going to be a Nintendo character. like people are like, you think it's going to be like, I don't know, like the standard third party, like the Dantes, all that stuff. I'm like, nope, it's probably going to be a Nintendo character. We got 2 third party characters before. We got the third party character that people like didn't expect, and like, oh my god, it's Sephiroth, like that hype one. So like this one's for us. It's like a 2 for them, 1 for us sort of situation. So it's like, yeah, it's probably going to be first party. And I wouldn't be surprised if we got another first party within the last couple. But I wasn't surprised by that at all. As far as that goes, I didn't know who it was going to be first party wise. Like I thought that like good bets were either a Pokemon character or a Zelda character, which I still think is probably one of the last ones. Mithra and Pyra didn't really surprise me though. I was like, I mean, this makes sense. This was something that Sakurai even said he wanted to do, but he wanted Rex specifically. But since they did the whole thing where it's like, what I know he doesn't think like that. Where it's like, we did the Mii Fighter, but since they did the Mii Fighter, it's like, well, we might as well just switch it up and just do these 2.
That's true. Yeah. I hadn't thought about that with the Mii Fighter, but yeah, I don't think I wasn't going in today thinking specifically Pyra and Mithra or anything.
Yeah,
Rex and Pyra, but definitely that's one that the whole time, like I've been like, yeah, Pyra and Mithra, that makes sense. Yeah. Or Rex and Pyra again.
And that happened with a couple of the announcements in this, right? Where it's like, I think, well, you veer closer into the whole thing of like, I'm going to make some predictions, but usually I don't make direct predictions, like direct and Nintendo direct predictions, because like that's our whole channel is like, I think this is going to happen. And like setting those things to exact times just it presents opportunities for people to be like, you were wrong about this, or like, you got my expectation to blah, 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 like that whole nonsense. It's just easier to do the shotgun blast of like, I think these things are feasible. As for when they happen, I don't know. I don't really care. I just think that they're probably going to happen. And when they do, it's like, I mean, I told you. There's like a lot of those announcements, which I'll mention the ones where I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I know one of them at least. But yeah, I mean, first up, Pyra and Mithra, literally as soon as it was, I mean, I said this in my video, some of this stuff is going to be a bit rehashing from the video I made this week. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, as soon as it was Xenoblade, I was like, Xenoblade, no. Oh, Smash.
Yeah. See, cool. But that's the thing. Like Smash Brothers, I didn't even have that reaction. I thought that I was like, oh, so it's probably a Xenoblade thing, and it was only because like in my head, I was like, oh, they didn't do the Smash Brothers like ching, like cross thing, and I said that multiple times on the stream. Like I was like, I don't know, because they didn't do the thing. Like this could be Smash, but at the same time, I'm not sure because they didn't do the thing that they usually do. So when it was Smash, I was like, it was again, one of those things where it was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. I wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
shocked, but I didn't expect it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only time I think that everybody else was like, oh, this is like a game, or like when it was announced, when Smash
Mm-hmm.
Brothers Ultimate was announced.
Uh-huh.
Everyone
Uh-huh.
was like, oh, is this a new Splatoon thing? I'm like, dude, this is Smash Brothers. Like,
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah, that one, I always wonder what my reaction would have been because I had to watch that direct after the fact.
Mm.
And
So you
as I
like,
pulled it up,
everybody was like, it's the Smash Brothers reveal direct.
yeah, I tried to pull it up and like scroll and like look through my fingers to not see anything and find the video. And the only thing that I saw was the headline, Smash Brothers. And I was
I
like,
usually say so. This doesn't really happen to me as much,
right.
for
Yeah.
whatever reason. If I cannot be at the
Mm,
computer, on my phone, whatever, when a direct starts, and I know that that's going to be the case. I
mm-hmm.
open the direct in a tab, or I
Yep.
put in my watch later or something, so I can just open directly to that. I don't have to scroll through my
Yep. That's 100%
search
what I
for
should
it.
have done. I think it was like because I got off work, drove home, then found it at home, and just
Mm-hmm,
hadn't done that. I was like, yeah. But yeah.
mm-hmm.
So in any case, Pyra and Mytha, how do you feel about these characters, or this character in
So this
Smash?
was another thing that was like, I was saying the whole the whole trailer. I was like, this is Pokemon Trainer with the sword. and like Bob was saying, like after the fact, he was like, I don't know why. Like I didn't know why you were saying that, because like in his head, he thought there was like a meter like cloud
Mm-hmm.
limit sort of situation. And I'm like, no, this is Pokemon Trainer. And so he was like, but
I
he
wasn't
wouldn't.
paying attention to the mechanics. Is it you're switching between Pyra and Mithra, kind of
Yeah.
like Sheik and Zelda sort of a thing?
I would say it's more like Pokemon Trainer.
Okay,
Where
gotcha. Yeah.
it's like part of their. So with Sheik and Zelda and Pokemon Trainer in Brawl
Mm-hmm.
specifically, it was like something that you had to find time to do. But
Okay. Yeah.
the way that switching works in Ultimate's engine, it's like almost a part of your flow chart,
Uh huh.
where it's not something that you have to find time to do. It's something that you can use to your advantage to
Like the
continue.
recovery video that Falcon showed you on Twitter the
Yes,
other day. Yeah, that was
exactly. Or just like the type of stuff that I'll usually do, where it's like
yeah.
where second to second, I'm like, right now with the way that this combo is working and my current trajectory, it's
Mm-hmm.
better for me to be Ivysaur.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to stay on Ivysaur. So right after I'm done and I get into advantage out of getting hit by this combo, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
Charizard, and then I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be Squirtle because I think that I can like gimp them by hitting them with a water gun. You
Yeah.
know, it's like that sort of thing. Like how switching used to work. It used to be a whole bunch of lag, long startup, you're
Mm-hmm.
stagnant, and you can't really do anything in the interim between that. So like your opponent could just be like, oh, they're switching. I'm just going to stand here and charge a smash attack, and they'll probably die, you know, like that
Uh-huh.
sort of thing. But now it's like a gotcha moment for you, where it's like, oh, you tried to smash attack me, but I switched, and that made me not get hit, and now you got punished for trying to hit me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
but this switch is, I want to say, so like I'm seeing some top players basically be like, oh, this switch is better than Pokemon Switch because she keeps her momentum, or
Mm-hmm.
they, because they're both, they keep their momentum when they switch. Pokemon Trainer like stalls a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
like, but that's exactly why I don't agree with them as far as like it being better. I just think that her switch has a different
Right.
application,
Yeah.
where it's like hers is to continue to push her advantage, but Pokemon Trainer Switch is more of like a defensive thing,
Mm-hmm.
because it makes Pokemon Trainer's recovery a lot better. So it's like you can, if you're Squirtle and you're trying to recover, it's like, okay, I can like side B jump,
Mm-hmm.
switch to Ivysaur, jump again, up B, get off of the up B because somebody caught that and was predicting I was going to recover like that. So they're trying to punish, switch directly to Charizard. If that
Mm-hmm.
stall didn't happen, you would die before you can even trigger the first recovery, because you would keep falling as the Pokeballs fall, like being thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
But with them, with Pyra and Mithra, it's like, okay, I'm going to hit you with Pyra, who's like stronger but slower sort of thing. I'm going to hit you with Pyra. As you're flying forward from that hit, I'm switching to Mithra as I'm running forward. in between that switch and me still running forward, her momentum is still being carried, so she can follow up on something that Pyra did.
Both of them.
Exactly, because like she launches you further, and Mithra's whole thing is that she's fast. So it's like that sort of thing where it's like they push advantage state.
No,
that
that's
being
cool.
Said, I think this character is going to be broken, and I think that like this is another character. So I always joke about Shulk being like a character where it's like, I'm just done. I'm done with y'all. Like, it's not about the fun of the game anymore. It's just me wanting to just like trash on people, because Shulk is like really, really good, but he's pretty complicated. So he's like, and I don't care about him as a character. So it's like, I'm not going to put the time in. He fits into like the way that I play the game, because a lot of all the characters like Min Min and Pokemon Trainer, like those characters that I play, they're very like, they reward players that are about adaptation, because their whole kit is about adaptation. It's like whether it be like, okay, in this position I need somebody small and fast, or like with Min specifically, it's like, oh, I hit them with Ram and they're recovering this way, so I might be able to kill them if I can hit them with Megawatt, and that whole thing. Like, you're changing your game plan depending on what's going on, and your move set helps with that. Pyra and Mithra are another character like that, but it seems like they're like an easier version of that. So I might have to pick them up just because of that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it seems like a cool character to me, just because it's one that I've been thinking would be neat. But like, also the other thing, for anybody that's mad that it's like another anime sword fight or whatever, I don't know. I feel like we've got so many characters, and at this point that like I personally, you can feel whatever you want. I feel like we can't complain about any characters, because it's like they could stop now and there would be more than enough. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah.
But at the same time,
I agree with that. Nice. But because I felt that way with Sephiroth before I played him. For me, I don't care about the whole like, oh, it's another sword. I care about, oh, it's another sword fighter, capital S trademark sign at the end, where it's like they function in the exact same way. Like, if they're not mechanically different and they don't change the gameplay in any interesting way, I don't care that much. But this is a character that like mechanically is interesting, because they're not necessarily doing anything new, but they're combining things that exist in the game in a way that it hasn't existed before, like Pokemon Trainer with a sword. It's another added layer of that, where it's like Pokemon Trainer, a big issue with them, with their disadvantage, is like you'll be getting comboed and you have to switch to avoid getting hit, because switching is faster than spot dodging. So sometimes it's just easier to get out of a combo if you switch, but you switched. So now the chances are you're bigger. Like, you're a bigger character, so you're just going to get comboed harder if you're not in the position to be able to like DI away enough. But with Mithra and Pyra, there's only 2 of them. So like, you're not put in a position where it's like, oh, I switched and now I'm a character that I don't want to be.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's nice. Well, cool. Yeah. So Smash, look at that. What a fun time. After that, Fall Guys, I feel like this is the one you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. And it was funny because like we were talking about, me and Bob and Dan talked about this, where it was like, okay, so we feel like this. Well, actually, I don't know if Dan was there when we had this specific conversation. It was like, oh, so we feel like at some point this is going to come to Switch, but like, what's the deal? You know, like what's the behind, like, you know, like the
is
inside
it 6
baseball
exclusivity or
sort
3
of
months?
Yeah, exactly. And Dan, Bob said that he thought it was going to be a year, and I said 6 months. That's right.
I mean, it seems like maybe it'll end up being 9 months when it's all said and done, or something more like that. But like, still, that's.
Well, I think that like, I feel like it was probably 6 months, because like COVID. You know, like,
right, exactly.
So
yeah, I mean, this is what, and like tons of, I don't know. It's just funny going back to the comments, and for a lot of people, they agreed that they're like, yeah, sure, it's just some kind of exclusivity deal that'll go up. And then the number of comments too, there were people that were like,
it'll never happen.
Yup. All right. So was Rocket League. I don't know, but so that's fun in any case. That it's coming over. It'll be a good one for Switch. I mean, it's like, you know, it fills in the same Among Us kind of thing. Like, Among Us has been, I don't know if it still is, but it was number 1 on the eShop for forever, like for a while. So cool. There it is. Fall Guys, Switch. The Outer Wilds, neato. It's coming. Makes sense that it's coming. I need to play.
I still barely understand what that game even is. I still get it confused with Outer Wilds.
Yeah. So the thing I mentioned in my video is like they explain the gameplay loop, which I would have thought was a spoiler, but I guess not because they explain it. But like, it's long story short, in the gameplay loop sense, it's kind of like an Edge of Tomorrow sort of situation where whenever you die, it resets the timeline. So I suppose as you start up, there's things going on elsewhere in the galaxy or solar system or something like that you're going to want to get to faster and interact with, and maybe that you can checkpoint on different places. I don't really know. I haven't gotten far enough to fully know that, but yeah, that's kind of the gameplay loop, is like you're trying to figure out what's going on, I think, and do something about it, I suppose.
Isn't this on Game Pass?
It is. Yeah. So that's where I've been playing it, was on Game Pass. Famicom Detective Club. Cool.
I don't care
Moving on. Samurai Warriors 5. Cool.
I don't care about this at all.
Legend of Mana. Like I was wrong about this one I thought this was a remake of the first one of the Mana series, but it turns out it's a remake it's just a port and remaster and up like HD of the fourth in the series that came out on something else. PS1 or something, I think.
I don't know. I don't care.
I don't know.
This game.
I like RPG looking things, but like if it's not, we'll see. As I was looking at it, I was like, this is cool. I'd like to play this. And then more RPGs came out in the video that I was like, nah, I'd rather put my time towards these though. So never mind. Maybe not.
Yeah, I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Because I don't like RPG looking things.
Monster Hunter Rise got a new trailer. Neat. And all right, moving into things.
Hype.
Mario Golf.
This is where things matter. Mario Golf. This is another thing that we called. We're like, okay, they're doing another Mario's first game. It's probably going to be golf first.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Actually, what all, because Camelot does tennis and golf for sure. And Golden Sun. Do they do any of the other Mario Golf or Mario Sports series?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I'm looking it up. I just Googled Camelot. That's not going to be nearly as helpful as I want it to be. Camelot games. It's Camelot software planning. There you go. That's what I was looking for. We're going to find out right now. Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, Golden Sun, Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, Mario Sports Superstars. So that's
all of them, kind of.
Yeah, there you go.
I have some experience with all of them, I guess.
And then, so like Mario Strikers is next level or has been next level. Yep. Mario Hoops, there was only one of. What else is there, Mario Sports wise?
Mario Baseball.
Oh, yeah. Who was that? EPD?
I don't remember. It might have been EPD or EAD at the time.
Mario Baseball. We're finding out.
Mario Sluggers.
Mario Superstar Baseball? Oh, that's different than Sluggers.
It's the same. It's like how like Strikers.
Namco. Okay. So there you go. It's
Did they do both of them? Hold on. Yeah, Namco, Bandai, and Nintendo SPD, which is basically EPD. But that's how like all their third party games that are like first party titles, like Nintendo has it's Marvel Ultimate Alliance, that sort of situation.
I wonder too, because like these were at the time, I don't know the answer to this question, but is baseball still as big in Japan as it was? I don't think baseball in general is as big as it used to be. Yeah, because that's what I
don't even know if that matters to them, honestly.
Yeah, maybe not. But for sure,
or matters to them in the sense that it's like, we're never going to make another one of these games because this sport isn't as popular. Maybe it matters to them.
I think it matters a little bit, but
priority.
Yes, I think you're right there. Like if they were like, we need to make a new Mario sports game, we don't want to make tennis or golf because those have already happened. And then they'll dip back.
Exactly. That's what I think it is, where it's like, we want to make a new sports game. We're not going to make baseball because that's not popular with the youth. I don't think they care about that.
Right.
But I think that it is like a factor where they're like, well, we didn't do tennis and tennis is more popular. So we're doing tennis first.
Yeah. Because obviously Mario Tennis has been a longer running series and a staple and stuff like that. But as a sport, that's still much less popular, I would think. And so is golf. Then then baseball still. Even I feel like baseball is definitely still more popular than tennis and golf are. To at least this generation.
Well, at least with the youths.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. That's funny. In any case, but Mario Golf, they did it. It's tell me your thoughts.
Okay, so
I said some in the video, but
Namco did the first one because they weren't Namco Bandai or Bandai Namco back then. And they also did the one on the GameCube.
Yep.
Interesting.
There you go.
Interesting.
So Mario Golf Speed Rush. It says after an 18-year wait. Oh, they're finally bringing back to consoles. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been.
Yeah, because it was on 3DS.
GameCube, right? Was GameCube the last console one then? Or?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Because I'm pretty sure we didn't get one on the Wii, so it would have had to been.
Which is funny because I remember people saying that it would have made sense to have it on the Wii because you could do the little
but they had Wii Sports Golf.
Yeah,
exactly. You weren't getting much bigger than that.
Very true. I think this looks very fun. Like I said in my video, I'm very curious about what the story mode is like.
I just like that the highlight of this trailer for me was Yoshi. Yoshi freaking books it, dude. This man is like, he puts his all into the Rush Golf. This man is like, I am getting to that ball. I don't care what happens in the interim, but I am there. Yep. It's happening.
Man. Yeah.
Like that alone, it was like, yeah, I'm getting this game.
Yeah.
Also, like, Bob is like weirdly into golf games, and I feel like that would be fun to stream. Like, and I don't mean that it's weird that he's into golf games, but I think it's weird how into golf games he is with the type of person he is. It's like, I wouldn't expect Bob Wolf to be like, yo, I am down for golf. Like,
no, fully agreed. Yeah, man. The speed golf, honestly, it's the kind of thing I like. I think in general, I like the gameplay of a golf game like this more than I do specifically the gameplay of a tennis game. Because it's, I don't know, for some reason that it should be boring, but it's not. I think because it feels like it's more different every time a little bit, even though maybe it shouldn't be. But
I think it also feels like, not like significantly, but it feels like you have more like impact over what happens, where it's like with tennis you can almost just like, I'm mashing, dude, like I'm just gonna swing. Like, but golf, it's like, I gotta line up the shot and I got it, hole in one, like, yeah,
it feels more like a chess versus not a chess. I don't know what the equivalent is here, but because I think with tennis, for me, I would end up having maybe just because I'm not super good at a lot of things, I would have 3 strategies that worked pretty well, that I'd pretty much stick between those. And if somebody was so much better than me that those wouldn't work, then I would just lose. And that was it. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of all or nothing in that sense. Whereas for this, like you said, it's more kind of in your hands. But I don't know, maybe not with the speed golf. I'm curious to see the breadth of that and what the power-ups are that are in there. And it just looks cool. So I'm down. So there's Mario Golf. Tales from the Borderlands. Neat. Cool.
I wouldn't even talk about when all this stuff is coming out. A lot of this stuff is either March, June, or July.
Yeah. So that is something, I mean, we'll talk about that probably more at the end, but other than the couple of games, they really did stick to the first half of 2021 thing.
Yeah. It's weird that I wouldn't even say that stuff, honestly, especially if you have games that are completely outside of that. They have games that are 2022. It feels weird to put that distinction on it, where it's it's only first half,
and they say it every time, and it's a lie every time. And actually not
never.
Every time. There's been a couple of times.
There's sometimes where it's they're we're just talking about. Usually when they do that, it's a very specific season. It's we're talking about summer games, and then it's summer's a month from now, that sort of thing. But when it's first half of the year, and we're month 2, I don't think there's ever been a case where it's like the last game that they talked about was in July, maybe, because even July is pushing first half of the year, you know?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, because they, for sure, the ones that didn't fit into that are the 2022 games and even No More Heroes 3. I think they did have to give a date for No More Heroes. Not have to, but like this was the best place to give a date for No More Heroes 3 because
did they give a date? I was not.
Yeah, it's August 27th.
Oh,
so
gotcha. Yeah,
I think it's been so long at this point that it's been pushed back a couple of times where they were like, let's just tell them now.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
I was big checked out. Whenever there was a game that I knew existed already, I was like, I don't care about this at all. So I didn't know that they dated that.
Yeah.
Not to say I don't care about the game, but I don't, because I want to try it. But I didn't care to see more of it because it's like I'm already gonna play it.
Yep. Yeah. Tales from the Borderlands, cool. Capcom Arcade Stadium, Stubbs the Zombie Rebel Without a Pulse. I don't know what this is, but
me either.
Whatever. No More Heroes 3. Yeah, it's a trailer. Yep. It comes out August 27th. The only thing that I haven't played the other two No More Heroes, so I don't really know. Same. But it mentions stuff about boss rushes, and that not worried me a little bit, but something a mild version of that where I'm like, I don't really want to play.
It's like, hopefully it's not
boss. Yeah. I hope that's a good, like a decent way of explaining it, but that's not really the, breadth of what it is. So that's something I'll be curious to ask. Actually, if any of you guys are No More Heroes fans, let us know in the comments. But otherwise I'll ask. I know Rob is a big No More Heroes fan and some other people are. But yeah, I don't know. But I like the quirkiness of it. Neon White, what did you think of this one?
I thought that this was like super edgy, dude. I was like, I saw the name and I was like, this is an edgy game. It's like, so like that in and of itself was like, I mean, it's neat, I guess, but just the edge, I got cut. I couldn't. I was tending to my wound.
It's the same. The lead designer is the same person as who made Donut County. Which is that,
I learned that after the fact, and I was like, "What?"
I saw it said made by Ben Esposito, and I was like, "I know that name. I just played a game by that person, but I don't remember which one it was."
That happened with the game that we're going to get to. That happened with one of those where I was like, "I know this name, but I don't care about this game though."
So I don't know. This one, it seems. I'm curious. I might
check it out.
Yeah. Is it an auto runner? It seems like, and then you pick the cards that you're going to use, or are you actually doing the platforming? Because it's pretty much, it looks like it's a parkour mixed with you pick certain cards to do moves with or something like that as you're doing it. I don't know. We'll have to see. Is it also Annapurna? Is that? Yep. Yeah. Okay. I mean, those are all. Ben Esposito does some cool stuff to what I know, and Annapurna's pretty good. So hopefully that means good things about it. But even Nintendo puts out a bad game every once in a while, so we can't.
Yeah, Kirby Star Allies
and DC Superhero Girls Teen Power. I mean, I can't say anything about it.
Game?
It's Nintendo published. I looked it up.
Wow.
So here's the thought. I realized this a little bit after. As soon as I realized it was published by Nintendo, I was
Who's developing it? What the? Hold on.
I don't know. Maybe Nintendo, but
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
No, I couldn't be. DC Super.
Yeah, it's not freaking Nintendo, dude.
So it's a TV show apparently already, and then
they're not going to do it on the Nintendo website. I was about to click into the Nintendo listing for it, but they don't give you those details,
Usually they do, though.
No, they don't. They say whenever a game is like published by Nintendo. And the developer thing, it just says
when it's published by Nintendo. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's like the whole thing where Netflix is like, this is a Netflix original, and it's like, no, this is just an anime that you paid to get people to translate, which I mean, still, that's the thing.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, they don't even differentiate between developer and publisher on here. It just says publisher Nintendo. Yo, I'm gonna hit up Nintendo and be like, yo, send me DC Superhero Girls Teen Power.
Yeah, man. Okay, I've got to
Nyla's
check now.
almost a teen. Yo, I should never mind. Those are hurdles I don't want to go through with YouTube monetization.
So I did check, and like Luigi's Mansion 3 shows developer Next Level Games. So some of them seem to show the difference, and maybe it'll show later, like when we find out more about it or something. But like, yeah, I don't know, because that's Nintendo published as well, and so I don't know. It's not foolproof, but this. In any case, the thought that I had with this is, I wonder if this is their in their minds.
I wish I knew this. I wish I knew that was a thing. Because I paid. This was a game I checked out. I was like, this game not for me. Don't care.
Yeah.
I was making jokes about. I was like, yo, Will, and then I was like, wait, no, his daughter's not old enough to care about this game.
True.
But if I knew that, I would have emailed Nintendo and be like, who is developing this?
I mean, like, yeah, honestly, do so. Okay, yeah. The thing I was gonna say is this the response to Animal Crossing? You know what I'm saying? I wonder, because like, if so, it matches some of the demographic for sure, and maybe that's all it needs to be. You know, is match some of it. It doesn't match the demographic that's watching a Nintendo Direct, as far as I would guess.
I think that like, I think the best way to follow through with a success like that is not to be like, you know what else, like
just shotgun blast.
Teen girls like Animal Crossing, so they'll probably also like this superhero girls teen power video. You know, it's like, I think it's just better to be like, to do what all the indie developers did, where it's like, we have Animal Crossing, but this one is with a cat. You know, it's like,
right. So this, I've been thinking in the back of my mind, as soon as I found out this was Nintendo published, is there a video here to talk about this in terms of the Animal Crossing thing? Because it's something I'll be thinking about. If I have enough thoughts to make a video out of it, then maybe that'll be a thing. But maybe not. I don't know. In any case, but yeah, I just am super curious.
Want this game? Do you want me to ask this game from Nintendo for you?
Nope.
Okay.
Sure don't. But yeah, I just wonder if it's, you know, actually I should check. So Asher's neighbor, again, for everybody else, my godson, he likes video and stuff. His neighbor is a 10-year-old girl who plays Animal Crossing a lot. I wonder if she'd be interested in this. And that would be good information for me to know. And if so, then like, you know, cool. Obviously they're doing something right, and they're keeping some of that demographic, because that's probably a bit of a harder demographic to keep, is the younger Animal Crossing girl fans. Again, nothing, I don't know, you know, cultural things, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But like, that's just probably parents of a younger girl more often than not wouldn't be like, you should play this action, like serious game. Whereas
but that's the thing, like having nieces and stuff, like my niece, she's super in the Among Us right now. She loves Fortnite. You know, like those are the games she likes. She's not, and she also likes Animal Crossing. Yeah. I would never, like, if that was the thing, right? Like in this board meeting, if they're like, you know what young girls like? DC superhero girls teen power, right? If I was like, yo, you know what else girls like? Fortnite, they would be like, haha, lol, that's right, not, that doesn't have girls in the title, you know? So it's like, I don't know if it's as,
it's not about what, it's not about what people are actually going to play or would like. It's about the marketing side of it, for sure, on that front, where it's like, it's easier to market to a wide slew, and of what parents think that their daughters or their sons would like, and stuff that's more generalized, because their parents might not know one way or another. It's super interesting to me.
This game,
I had to mute it though, because the girl doing the voiceover for the trailer, oh man, it was like the most just, I don't know, very, you know, stereotypical voice for this. That was annoying.
This game, to me, is targeted at Will 10 years from now. This is the game for Will 10 years from now.
I mean, and again, you know, like Wonder Woman's big these days, and some of this other stuff is.
Some of this other stuff is.
I'm guessing Supergirl. That's a thing, you know. So we'll see. Wow, yeah. Moving along, Plants vs. Zombies: Battle for Neighborville.
Whatever.
There it is. It happened. Okay, one that I didn't talk about in my video, and one of my comments from it is here.
How dare you?
I recorded a thing.
So honestly, usually when I'm watching Nintendo Directs, what I do is I have a Word document up, and they're just taking down notes of like, that game's interesting to me, I'm going to ask for that one, you know? And this was a game that I forgot to ask for. And I was like, my knee-jerk reaction was to like be like annoyed, be like, I'm so mad at myself for not asking for that thing. But I didn't want to do it on stream because I knew Bob and Dan were going to give me crap for it. We're like, oh, Mr. Nintendo over here, can't, you know? So I was like, I couldn't say anything. But I need to hit them up at some point because I didn't want to like do like, oh, and also this, you know, like I try to do the shotgun blast of like all these things. If you can, you know, if you can provide product, that'd be neat.
Yep. But yeah, I recorded myself talking about it for a second, and then I was like, I just deleted it because the video was super long anyway. But Browns fan 32 commented, "How dare you skip over Miitopia?" And it's true, I did. So, but. Yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
This is another game that like I want to play because of the social aspects of it. Like I wanted to play the game and be like, Bob did that stupid thing that he totally would actually do. Or the opposite side of that, where it's like Parker's doing something I would never imagine him doing, and that's hilarious. You know, like that sort of stuff is like the reason why I want to play this game.
Yeah.
But I don't really care about the game as far as like gameplay wise.
Yeah. I just don't know. Yeah.
Carry this game for. That's another part of it that's interesting because I like it feels like or felt like for a long time they were like just straight up phasing out the Mii. Like there's Mii's and some stuff. You could do like Mii fighters in Smash Ultimate or whatever, and like your profile is like a Mii kinda. But they don't really use them for anything. It's kind of hidden away, you know, like there's not like a Mii channel or a Mii app. There's just like a thing that's like, if you dig deep enough, it's like, oh, that's how I make my Mii in your settings, you know?
Yeah. I wonder if that's coming back now, you know, like maybe they were trying to in the same way.
Yeah. If they're like, like Ring Fit, you know, it's like, oh, we can bring the Wii back now that we're giant.
Exactly. Because now there's nostalgia for it and stuff, but it's not the thing that's going to like fully represent and identify the Switch. It's kind of like how early on people asked about like, is Netflix going to come and all that? And they made some comments. Yeah, they made some comments that were like, we want this to be a gaming platform first and foremost. So maybe those things are going to come eventually, but for now, it's a gaming platform. So I feel like, maybe at this point, they're trying to bring back in some of that Wii stuff, like you said. So maybe Wii Music, here we come, E3 2008, you know? Oh, man. Moving on. Animal Crossing, Mario update. Cool. There was Mario.
We kind of already knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, right. And it's not like there's any surprising Mario stuff, except for the warp pipe is neat. Like I saw Steve from Lootpots say that he's going to make a part of his island that you can only get to from a warp pipe and have that be the Mario part. And I was like, that's a pretty cool idea. I mean, technically you can still get to it from anywhere by swimming, but that's besides the point. But I like the concept.
Yeah.
And
then again, because you couldn't just take your swimsuit with you.
Yeah, right.
You can't like bar people from having a swimsuit.
I was trying to think too of like, is there a creative way you could do it? If somebody doesn't have a ladder, you could make walls, you know, up around it and stuff. Like I made my whole island so that you can get around the whole thing without a ladder or a pole because it was just a nuisance to take those out. So. But then I would go over to Ashley's island and have forgotten to bring mine over. And she didn't specifically do that. So then I'd be like, well, I'm not following you up to the top of that mountain because I can't. So, but yeah, it looks cool. So, neato. All righty.
I think they slighted Waluigi again. That was something chat was talking about.
That's true. Wario was in there.
Yep. That's why I was like, is Wario? When chat brought that up, and then I saw they had Wario's like outfit you can get, and I was like, well, rip Waluigi.
So they didn't even show okay, because I remember seeing Wario at one point in the background where he was like, you know, doing Mario stuff.
They might have just straight up had Wario, but that was the thing that I saw that I was like, oh, okay, so Wario is in this somehow.
Yeah, I bet if Waluigi's in there, then I feel like to them that would mean Peach would have to be in there because she's kind of the.
But Peach she's
sorry, I meant to say Daisy. I feel like she's the equivalent representation in terms of the totem pole.
Dude, she's in Smash. She's in Smash. That means she matters, you know? That's why people are mad that Waluigi's not in Smash. It's confirmation he doesn't matter.
He don't matter. Project Strategy
This game
I thought it was stupid. Triangle Strategy. Yeah, they got it wrong in this news write-up. But Project Triangle Strategy. I'll play the demo. I'll let you say some words about it. But man, as everybody has pointed out, and myself included, that title,
it's such a stupid.
Got to change it.
It's so stupid. They're not going to change it. They're not going to change it.
I was fine with them leaving. Like I was like Project Octopath Traveler. Yeah, that's a fine name. That's like if
no, it's not. Project that's also a stupid name.
But it's even if it is a stupid name, it is exponentially better than Triangle Strategy.
I don't know if that's true. I think Octopath Traveler is stupid in a different way. Like Triangle Strategy is stupid because it feels like they just threw words in the name generator and that's what popped out. But
it sounds like a puzzle game is what it does.
Octopath Traveler is that, but they took they also included prefixes. Like that's what they did with that game. Octopath, just because it's not a real word doesn't mean that it's not a stupid word. In fact, I would argue that makes it easier for it to be a stupid word.
Honestly, I mean, I think there's truth to that where like it's kind of like a band name that if it's just silly enough, you just like Hootie and the Blowfish. Who even what is that? You know, or Owl City or whatever. They're outlandish enough that you don't think about it. But and Octopath Traveler kind of feels like that, where it has the vibe of an adventure because traveler and stuff. Like there's a bit of that, even though it's technically dumb.
I feel like the last example you gave, you said Owl City. That I feel like is closer to this than it is Octopath Traveler. Because Owl City is just two words that they say.
But like words. Owl City paints kind of more of a, like there's a bit more of a.
See, I disagree. I feel like Triangle Strategy could literally describe the game mechanics of this video game. Like, I feel like this name is more functional and makes more sense. I'm not saying it's a good name.
Yeah,
but I feel like it's a better name than Octopath Traveler. Octopath Traveler feels like they were trying to get artsy. It was like it's 8 people, you know, they're all on a journey together. Like that, I feel like is stupid in that sort of like art student, fine arts degree type of way. You know, Triangle Strategy is like, we don't have any idea. Like they came up with Triangle Strategy in a boardroom. They came up with Octopath Traveler in a fine arts class.
Right.
That's the differentiator there. I think they're both stupid, but for different reasons.
Yeah. My real vibe of Triangle Strategy every time, it sounds like a puzzle game to me. Like like an iPhone puzzle game, not like a good one.
Yeah.
Oh man. But that said, I played the demo. I didn't beat the demo.
Oh wait, I'm not done making fun of this game. HD 2D is still a stupid buzzword because, and I was talking to Bob and Dan about this, and I was like, what? Like, literally any 720. Well, I specifically said 1080p. Any 1080p 2D game is HD 2D, you know. And then chat was like, even 720, and I was like, that's true, you know. Like, so HD 2D is a stupid buzzword, and I hate it.
I mean, I'm down. Yeah, I'll agree with that for you. I think it looks nice, but yeah,
it's fine. But it's a stupid buzzword.
I'll give you that. In any case, I was excited to see this one because, you know, I liked Octopath Traveler. I like the look of this as well. And then I liked the gameplay. That HD 2D, crisp. and
pump it into my veins.
Oh, man. But yeah, played the demo. Here's some thoughts about the demo. The combat bits, very Fire Emblem-y in a good way.
Also, triangles, you say?
You triangles, all of them. I don't know. When I was playing it, I was just like, oh, that person's weak to this thing. I'm using this thing. But I didn't pay attention to whether it was like a that kind of triangle.
The game already told you, dude. It's a triangle strategy. The game told you how to play the game in its title. This is a functional.
I pretty much already beat it, honestly, at this point. Knowing just the title. Yeah. So I played the first. It says in the disclaimer at the beginning that it's jumping you in just in the middle of the game at some spot. The story won't necessarily make sense where it is. And that the battles are harder in the demo than they will be in that part of the game normally, just to show you kind of some of the variety. Whatever. First battle, I was generally fine. I beat it and it was good. I lost one battalion because I wasn't thinking about a certain thing, and 3 people ganged up on him and killed him in 1 turn. So that was that. But then the second battle was hard. And specifically, I got like halfway through it. And at the beginning, it was one of those where like I was learning some of the mechanics as I went and didn't realize how like the first character, excuse me. It's the second battle layout or whatever is on a very like tiered kind of area where there's a lot of different platforms and different what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, height differentials between different platforms that you're on. And the first character I had was able to go up by like, 10 feet or something. Like he could jump higher or something like that. I don't know. And then everybody else couldn't get up that much higher. So I started moving other people to like spots where pretty much, long story short, I was just putting them into a corner where they couldn't get anywhere from that corner because they couldn't get up anywhere. And other people could just shoot at them. So like I had 3 people die very soon because it was just bad. So I'm going to play that battle again, but that doesn't matter that much. The gameplay is fun. I enjoy the gameplay. There's a lot of story in it. I kind of wish that it was a game that it doesn't seem like it's going to have a lot of like exploration, like big E exploration. It has kind of some exploration phases where it's like story. And then they're like, we should decide about this thing. What do you think? And then it'll let you go around town and talk to some of the people in the town, something like that. And then at that point, you also, you'll see a little shiny thing here or there and pick up the shiny thing and it's an item or whatever. But it's not Octopath Traveler kind of RPG exploration kind of thing. It's a lot of smaller bits like that. So that's a bit disappointing, but not a big deal. Like it's more than I think a traditional Fire Emblem would have been prior to Three Houses, Monastery notwithstanding. Mm-hmm. So probably that's fine. Just not something I'm particularly used to. So I'll finish it and give some comments on it to the survey and all that. But I'm excited about it, and I think it looks and plays fun. That is all.
You should like make a video and
put that
in the survey.
Honestly, yeah. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the voice acting in the game is good. The voice acting of the lady, just like the DC girl one, the voice acting of the lady announcing it, whoo! I could not handle her. It was like. It reminded me of a female version of King Rome from
when they were talking about this. Was this a minute? Was it?
No.
I was about to say
it was like 5 minutes easily.
I was like, for some reason, every time an RPG is on the screen, it feels like it's 10 times longer than what the.
No, the trailer they uploaded is like a short.
It's a minute. Okay, yeah, that's the thing that's on this article.
I think this was within the
like they showed that, and then they did the deep dive of like this is what the game is about, and I hate that. Like I feel like the last type of game that even removed from how I feel about RPGs are not games that you do that with. You should not go into systems and talking about the video game.
Unless it's a direct or something about that RPG
if it's
specifically.
that game. Yeah, like if it's that game.
Like when there was a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 direct, and it was like, it's 15 minutes of just Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Perfect.
Right.
Do that. But in the middle of another thing.
In a big direct, or what? Not even any direct that's not about, like, that's about more than just this one game. Even if it's an RPG direct. Going on a deep dive on any particular RPGs within that is a no-go. Like, don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, that would be like if in the Pyra Mithra bit at the beginning, they went into the Sakurai explanation of like, and this is how to combo, blah, blah. Like,
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Like that's, I mean, people do care, but not the
But
general
not,
populace.
yeah, exactly. Because there's a lot of people that don't even care about Smash Brothers. On top of that, like there's a whole tier of things that like people don't care about this explanation, and it could be for a negative or positive thing. You know, chances are most people that are watching this do not care about that segment. Like, I don't care how much you like RPGs. You might care specifically. You specifically who's about to comment, oh, I care. You know, like you might care, but I guarantee the majority of people are at best indifferent towards those segments being in there, where it's like, this is a thing. You know, I guess
especially giving the history of
break.
Yeah, right. That was because I feel that way when they did the Fire Emblem Three Houses one, and they were like, the Kingdom of Fodland, it reaches from the west to the east, and I'm like, yeah, but. No, that's fine. Like, that's part of the game. We'll figure it out during the game.
Exactly.
Like, just show some gameplay and we'll, especially because there's a demo. Just like play the demo, you know? Yeah, just play the demo, everybody. That's it. Do that. But we'll find out more about it as we go. We'll submit some things. I'll be curious to see what changes they make because, like, whereas with Octopath Traveler, I had more comments and feedback of like, probably change this, and this. I've definitely got fewer of those things with this. So. Other than like bigger things that would be, like I said, more exploration kind of things, they're not going to change that. That's the way that the game is, you know, like that's part of that would be like being a Mario game and be like, but could you make it like open world though?
Yeah.
Like that's, we're kind of past that point.
Probably not going to do that.
Yeah. So triangle strategy. Moving on. Star Wars Hunters.
This game, I went through a character arc at the beginning. I was like, I don't care about this because, like, if it doesn't have laser swords, I don't care about the majority of Star Wars. And then a laser sword popped up, and I was like, oh shoot, it has a laser sword. And then it was like, oh, this looks like a mobile game. I don't care anymore. And then that's where I'm at now. Here we are.
Yep. It seems like,
and it's made by Zynga, so that confirms that it's going to be garbage.
Oh, who's that?
Like freaking, they're a mobile game company. They did like, I think Farmville's like them. I'm pretty sure that's them.
Interesting. Wait, Zanga, like Xanga, like that used to be the website Zanga before MySpace?
ZY.
Oh, different.
ZY.
What's Zanga doing these days? Probably nothing. It's probably just a website that exists, and the people who made it are doing other things. Oh, Zanga 2.0 is here. I'm looking into this. Lord. It looks like garbage.
Yeah, they're Farmville. They're the Farmville people. Zynga is Farmville.
Huh.
That is their other notable video game.
There it is. I have zero opinions on Star Wars Hunters. That's
my opinion is that looks stupid and I hate it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to play it. I know that much. Long trailer for Knockout City.
Yes.
As well.
Okay. So this was the game that I was talking about where it was like, I heard this name before. This is made by the Mario Kart Live people. Yeah, but I don't care about this game. So it's like, I mean, I might try it, but I don't care.
Interesting. Yeah. Is this it doesn't say, it's not a free-to-play game, is it? Or is it? It seems like it should be.
Probably.
I don't know. Probably. It gives that kind of vibe. It is an EA game. So, yeah. Very possible. I don't know. That is an interesting thing. EA did show up more in this direct than they've showed up in quite a while. So, and I mean, also, is this a Switch exclusive? Because if so, it sounds like they're doing the thing we were talking about last week where we were like, people need to make games targeted towards the Switch, which it seems like this is maybe targeted towards Switch. Also, the like ogre thing that was in the trailer.
Think that this is it
not Switch exclusive? Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Hold on, wait, let me check. I don't think so. But it's possible.
On Steam. So maybe console exclusive. Xbox. Maybe it's everything.
Yeah, no. Yeah, nah. For whatever reason, I did not think that was maybe. Yeah. I think I saw the Xbox. I think I saw like an Xbox tweet about it or something.
Yeah, I wonder when it was first announced. I mean, maybe
I think it was first announced here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I just know that like since it becoming a thing that I know about, I just at one point or another saw that it was coming to something that was not Switch.
Interesting. All right, so there it is, Knockout City. World's End Club. Like I said, this is straight up. It's that one Netflix show, the anime in Borderlands. So I don't know. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, whatevs.
Didn't
care.
If it gets good reviews, then maybe I'll pick it up and Ashley and I'll play it together. Because it could be something that we would both enjoy, but I'm not sure. Hades Physical Edition, cool. Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, cool. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity Expansion Pass. They didn't show anything from this.
Yeah, we don't
just
know
saying
what
it exists.
Yeah,
so.
we don't know what it is or when it's coming out even.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. It says beginning May 28th, you'll be able to purchase the pass for $20 in advance of 2 waves. So, the first is coming June.
So, wait,
the second in November.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that.
I hadn't seen that either. Okay, so June and November. Neat.
Nice.
Another trailer for Bravely Default 2. I'll be playing that. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. Won't be playing that. Saga Frontier Remastered. Apex Legends, another EA, which we knew about that already.
Yeah,
all right, and then the last 2 big ones.
Another one that I knew and made a video about, and people were like, Nintendo's not going to do that. It's motion controls. You need a Wii remote. They're not going to,
There's no motion controls on the Switch.
Yeah, you can't do sensors without the sensor bar,
Yeah. Honestly, and I think this is the way they were showing the button controls or whatever, definitely the best way to do it as far as it's not like hold a direction and then press a button or something like that. It's just swing your sword by like flip, 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 flip. Like I feel like there's other games
I think you
do that kind of thing.
I think you do.
Do you hold a button too? Oh.
I think you do.
Maybe.
Or no, I think you do use the right stick to Yeah.
So like, I think because other people at some point had suggested like maybe you hold down like ZR and then you move the right stick or something.
Yeah.
And maybe it is that, but it also kind of looked like they didn't show that. They only showed just the moving the right stick. So it could be just like you flick it.
Yeah, just like a twin stick shooter sort of situation.
Yeah, right, exactly. Which I feel like that would be better not using ZR, but I don't know. Obviously they did a lot of testing and they've picked out the best thing, but not surprising at all that it's come. So here it's coming,
I mean, it might. I think that the thought there is you Z target and then you use the analog stick. At least that's what I was getting at. Because I think I said that in my video too, where it's like you press something and then you move the thing. It's like to target onto somebody where it's like, I want to attack that person. I want my sword out.
Yeah.
Rather than just like you're controlling the game or whatever, and then for whatever reason you unintentionally move the right stick and then you slash your sword and it's like, well,
yeah. I mean, and because it wasn't like it was a dual joystick game in the past. Anyway,
it was a Wii remote.
Because it's Wii remote. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
It's the camera is not going to be that big of a deal to be able to. So yeah, I'm excited that it's coming. The other thing I mentioned in the video, but the fact that it's coming July 16th, just still to me also insinuates there's plenty of time for them to do a whole bunch more Zelda stuff after that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're still going to see more ports. Yeah. I think we're going to get at least equivalent to what we got with Mario in that regard. Like I think we're going to get at least one new Zelda thing. I don't know if it's Breath of the Wild 2. It might have been Breath of the Wild 2 feels like it might be a 3D World situation where they intended for it to come out in November and it might get pushed to like March. And then they do it as like it's March 3rd, it's the anniversary. When's March 3rd? What day is that?
No.
I'm looking into it.
Probably one of the days. Yeah, so I mean I would imagine I wouldn't be surprised by Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD collection, the two of them together. I don't know. That makes sense to me because this isn't the first time that they're having to do
one day
HD.
off. March 3rd's on a Thursday. Rip.
I mean, they've put a game out on a Thursday before, and it came out
not in a very long time.
No. I think the only time I can think of was Luigi's Mansion 3 was on Halloween, which was a Thursday.
Yep.
Other than that,
so maybe they do it.
I mean, also maybe they don't care that much about it being on specifically the anniversary, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Are you excited to play Skyward Sword again?
Sure, I'm down. I made a whole video about it. That means that I'm interested.
Yep. So the video that I know that I'm going to make about this scoop here is a thing that I've talked about a little bit in the past, but like Wii U ports are finishing up. They're pretty much all done.
So it's time for Wii. And we go
next.
back and we murder another legacy.
Exactly. Because like everything else comes up really easily. Like you don't need to, I mean, other than graphics and stuff, but like controls wise, you don't have to do anything besides maybe analog triggers for GameCube games. All of the N64 games, control-wise, fine. Everything else is fine. It's just the Wii that's going to have some games like this one that's like a little bit finicky that you'll have to think about how you're going to do it or whatever. And so they just need to clean all those up so that they can have a whole legacy of content that they're like, this is, we can do whatever we want with these. We've done all the work, and we can move them to whatever platforms we do or don't want in the future. Because yeah, I think to them they'd like to eventually have this be an Xbox type situation where you can play all the games on their current platform. At least all the games they want you to play.
They've said as much. Where less about Xbox and more so they made the direct analogy to iPhones, iPads,
right?
Where it's like you don't have to have the iPad version. Like there's the game, you download the game or app. If there's an iPad version, it's the iPad version, like you don't got to search for iPad.
So yeah, that's cool. And then the last bit is Splatoon 3. You got more thoughts than I do. Go for it.
Hype, super hype. The hypest thing in here. I mean, I even removed from me, I think that this is like objectively the biggest announcement in this trailer. I think views even say as much. Because like the trailer I think has like 1.3 million views right now. Hold on. Wait,
the funny thing with Splatoon to me,
1.2, and it's 29 trending on YouTube right now.
The funny thing to me with Splatoon is I think it's fan base wise, it's kind of an all or nothing situation, whereas a lot of these other games aren't. Like there are more lukewarm fans of Zelda or Mario or whatever that are like, oh, cool, I'm pretty excited about that. Whereas with Splatoon, there's a lot of fans that are like, I don't
know about that. I think that there's people that are like, I'm not like, I like Splatoon a lot, but I'm not like, yo, Splatoon, best thing ever. I can't wait for Splatoon 3 at every waking moment. Like I'm way more like that with Pokemon, that sort of thing. Right. I'm very much so like Splatoon, dope. Dope.
I guess, I mean, in my mind, that's still, maybe I oversimplified, but I guess I
think that that's the case with any franchise. Like I would say I'm more excited about Splatoon 3 than I am Skyward Sword, but that's just because I played Skyward Sword. But it's the same kind of thing where it's like, I like Zelda games, a new Zelda game. I like Splatoon, new Splatoon. I'm not like, I don't think people either love or hate Splatoon. I think Splatoon is like,
right. No, I guess it's not that I think people love or hate it. I'm not saying this super well. I think there's only been the 2 games. So there's a lot of people like me who just haven't tried it at all.
Or like unsure of it.
It's an unknown. Yeah. It's just like the number of
because it's like it's this game and then the first game was on Wii U, so not
exactly. So like if you haven't played Splatoon 2, chances are you just you don't really know anything about Splatoon. And I say that because of the number of people I've been seeing like, is that a big enough announcement to close out a direct? And like for yes, A, and B.
Yeah, I feel like that specifically is them living under a rock. I think that's less so about like how like the type of franchise Splatoon is, and just more them like projecting their experience on everybody else. You know what I mean? It would be like me being like Bravely Default 2. Who cares about that? Like I know people care about Bravely Default 2. I don't, and I'm able to like specifically like make that separation. I think that And same thing I was talking about with Animal Crossing. People acted like that with Animal Crossing.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of like that. It's like, just because you don't understand it, it's like, oh, this is a niche thing. It's like, no, the last one sold 13 million copies. It's a big deal. Like,
yeah. So I mean, I think, and that's kind of why I still am on the bandwagon of Splatoon would do well to get a spin-off, just to broaden the, like,
I don't even think it needs one. Looking at this game, I don't think it needs one.
Yeah.
Because like, especially like how they open this, it looks like they have a bigger focus on like a grand single player experience.
If that's the case, then that's all it needs. You know, like I think that's dope. I think it would still be nice. It would be cool for it to have other things like Mario has, where there's more those kinds of things, like not instead of
like
this, but
if it's this, right? Like if the differentiator is like the type of game that you like to play and the type of game that you don't like to play, sort of thing, like you are not a competitive person. So I know you would rather play a big single player Splatoon game or whatever, but I don't think, in the same way I talk about with Pokemon, I don't think that those things have to be mutually exclusive. Right. I think they can do a big Pokemon game that still is about the multiplayer experience, because the IP is about that, like, and it's similar with Splatoon. Like, the whole thing is like, it's post-apocalyptic and everybody died, and now we're like fighting each other for sports. We do this 4-on-4 war thing. War simulation basically is the lore of it. So like, for them to like then say this is the single player version of that, forget the lore of the thing, it's the single player version,
right?
I think the spin-offs come more from like doing things that are like removed from that lore, rather than separating it arbitrarily. So like, if they do the single player thing, I feel like they can do a big single player campaign and still have multiplayer, like they're doing, or seem to be doing here. Like the fact that, like, so like in this, like the trailer that they did, hold on, let me share my screen because I have it like pulled up.
I will let you share your screen. I'm really nice like that.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Anytime me. Safari. Not that one.
Not that one. There it is.
There it is. Okay, so like, it opens up, right? And it's like, customize your thing. And this is like pretty normal for Splatoon, right? Like this whole, like this opening scene, not how it looks. Because it, like any other game, or the other Splatoon games up until now, you could tell it's a multiplayer game. It's like, okay, create your avatar or whatever, right? Why is that a resolution?
Because I was wondering that for sure. During this part, I was like, is this a single player game? Like, is it? And like you've said, if they're treating this part, like the campaign, like a single player thing, instead of more like a tutorial. I mean, I know it's not, like, I'm not trying to diminish the single player Splatoon 2, but it
100%. Splatoon 2's, yes, 100%, yes. Splatoon 1,
I didn't play enough of it to be able to say that effectively. But.
I think that Splatoon, but it's kind of different. It is functionally a tutorial in the way that it's like, this is going to help you like get good at the mechanics, but I think it also functionally is sort of like that analogy that I'll make sometimes with like sauce, where it's like, some people are like, oh, I like this sauce so much, like, give me more things to dip in this sauce. That's what the campaign does too, where it's like the Splatoon mechanics just removed from all of that, like the deathmatch and, like, turf war or whatever, however you want to think about a shooter, removed from that, Splatoon could be and is platformer. So that's kind of how it also works, where it's like, it's just a lot of different platforming challenges, whereas this seems like it could be less Mario 3D World, more Bowser's Fury, where it's like, it's all this big connected thing that like I think Xeon said this, where he was like, he wants it to be like, no, like, floating random platforms, like,
right, exactly,
you're like tethered to something. And I think that's it seems like that's what they're setting up for here, and it seems like they're adding depth to a lot of different parts of this experience. Like just looking at character customization, there's so many different skin tones and eye colors, and you can choose your freaking pants. You can customize your little friend. Wait, where's that?
Yeah, I think that comes afterwards.
Oh yeah, after doing your
Do you have a friend in Splatoon 2?
Okay, you don't have a friend, and that's the other thing where it's like I don't even know if this applies to the multiplayer.
Right? Yeah, because in the multiplayer that it was showing, I didn't notice any.
And they didn't even show, like, this was the thing where I was like, is this like, I thought initially, just because like we don't have these rules or whatever for this franchise. This franchise is still very new. We're only on the third one, and it's a 5-year-old franchise, you know? So I was like, is this a spinoff? Is this just a single player focused Splatoon? But once they showed it's Splatoon 3, and they really didn't even like, you know, like zoom out in a sense where it's like they didn't show anything that wasn't like this is this huge campaign, right? And this is still like, this is kind of like, oh, is this Splatoon 3? Because this is kind of how like Splatoon games are, where it's like they're in
Inkopolis and stuff,
like, you know, it's like it's in this thing and you go to the different like modes and whatnot. So it's like that's there, and then after they were like it's Splatoon 3, they're like, here it is, it's the thing that you know, it's the 4v4, all that stuff, right? So like I think Misclick was talking about this on Twitter, where it's like just the freaking like amount of care that they're putting into like the franchise as it like grows, and like every Splatoon game looks significantly better than the last one did, right? And they're not even on like, it's not a generational leap like technologically from a hardware.
It's just the budget, the amount of
it's the fact that they're like, oh no, this is a big deal, so we gotta like spend more time on this, on the modeling, like detail and like the lighting and all that stuff, right?
Yep. Man, it's crazy. No, I think this will be the first Splatoon, because I tried out like I don't know 30 minutes of your copy of Splatoon 2 at some point. And I was like, I don't really care. So this will be the first one probably that I actually like give a fair chance and really try it out. So yeah, but it's, you know, it's all the way far away in the future.
It's true.
And you know what else is in the future?
Dude.
Maybe directs? Question mark?
Who knows?
Who knows? That's what we're going to chat about. Okay, before specifically that, but like, I don't know, that plus like thoughts about the direct as a whole. What do you?
Yeah, I mean, we could probably go into your comment. Where did it comments on?
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so comments on my video. Pack Blixie says Mario Golf and Skyward Sword are the games I'm excited for. Never played a Mario Golf, so I'm hopeful I'll enjoy it. I definitely like Tennis Aces. Skyward Sword was one of my favorite games from the Wii, and I haven't played it in a long time. Maybe I'll actually get past the first few hours, LOL. I don't know what I was doing when I was like 8. Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild are the only 3D Zelda games I've played. It may just be the nostalgia talking, but I loved Skyward Sword, and I don't like Breath of the Wild. The exact opposite of the common opinions.
Get out of here. Leave.
That's funny.
I don't dislike Skyward Sword. I like Skyward Sword fine. Which I think is notable because I hate most 3D Zelda games. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
take that.
How do you feel about Majora's Mask?
I dislike that game too.
Okay.
Because it's Ocarina of Time. It's the same thing where it's like you want to do a thing, but you can't do the thing until random NPC tells you to do thing, and that's always dumb design. And I think that they like had an epiphany with Breath of the Wild. They're like, wait, we don't have to do that. like obviously if the player goes to do thing, they know they need to do thing. So like even if you had to like, you know, do the wink and the nod within the lore of your world and say like, oh man, you must be like a time traveler or something because you're aware of this thing, right? Like do that, because that is not a challenge. Like I know people accept it as that because that's what has been, we're indoctrinated into feeling that way, right? Where it's like that's an obstacle, so therefore it's a challenge, right? But it's not. And that me knowing that and being hyper aware of that, even as a kid, where it's like this is not hard, like makes me dislike those games. And it's funny because like there's games that or even back then, right? Like the Tarzan game is the example that always comes to mind for me with this. It doesn't arbitrarily wall you off from doing a thing because the game knows it wants to tell you to do the thing. Like Turchek, or not Turchek. Who's the Rosie O'Donnell's character?
Oh, I don't remember. The gorilla, the mama gorilla.
Yeah, Turchek, not the mom, the Tarzan friend. I forgot.
Oh, the littler gorilla.
Yeah, the little one.
It's been so long since I've seen that.
Yeah, I forgot her name. Turchek, I'm pretty sure is one of the big. Well, he's the freaking I think he's the one that like Tarzan got beef with, and then he grows up and he's like, I recognize you as a father figure, like that whole thing. But I don't remember it.
A side note, fun fact, because it reminded me of it, and I'm going to say these words now. So Phil Collins did pretty much all the music for that movie. Phil Collins in America, we generally respect him, like him well enough. And we're like, yeah, Phil Collins, he's a guy. Cool. We're down with that. At least neutral to.
Yeah. He's a thing that's like, oh yeah, he exists. He's the for me, it's like, oh, he's the Disney soundtrack dude. Like that.
So it's like neutral to good, somewhere in that kind of range where it's like either have no opinions or maybe you like him or something.
Right.
I might have limited views of this, but my exposure to British people's opinion of Phil Collins so bad. I don't know. It feels equivalent to Creed in the US kind of thing, where it's like maybe they just played him on the radio too much. But like I had a teacher in high school in 10th grade that legitimately, he was like, if you're 2 minutes late to class, that's 5 minutes of detention. And that's 5 minutes of Phil Collins. And I was like, and he would play Phil Collins as part of detention, but he hated Phil Collins. And I'm like, dude, you're subjecting yourself to the thing that you claim.
Yeah.
So funny.
But he's like, I hate this, so I know everybody else hates it.
Of course. Yeah. It was such a bizarre thing. But I'm curious, if you're British, let me know, I guess. I have to ask.
Yeah, let them know if you're British.
Yeah, I didn't clarify that very well, but let me know if you're British. So,
I say all that to say, in the Tarzan game, there's like a banana or something, and the freaking small gorilla, Rosie O'Donnell, is like, yo, if you go over there and you get the banana, you'll have it. That's cool, right? You can completely avoid her and get the banana first, and she'll still tell you, like, if you go back and talk to her, it's like, yo, get the banana, right? And it's like, well, I already got it. But the game doesn't say, you can't get that banana. I didn't tell you to get it yet, right? It's like, even that I feel is better designed than that. Right. And that's why I don't really like 3D Zelda games. I feel like
I wonder with that, if it's rushed production where that was like, on the back burner, like maybe we'll get to those kinds of things at the end, or they just didn't think about it at that point.
I think they didn't think about that. I think I think that they thought that. I think they thought the same way that people think about it in hindsight, where it's like, that was friction. Like I had to actually explore the world and talk to people to discover the path forward, right?
Either that, or they just thought people are just going to play. They didn't think about the Breath of the Wild style. Like people are going to play the game however they're going to want to play it. But they were like, people use player guides, people use blah, blah, blah. Like they're gonna talk to that person.
But even then, even with that logic of like, you're going to use a player guide or whatever, the fact that a player guide has to say, talk to this person that tells you exactly what you paid money to get this book to tell you to do, right? Like it's dumb.
Yeah.
Like I completely respect the fact that like characters in the game can tell you like, here, go to this place and do this. That part, that's great zigging. That's great game zigging, dude. But the fact that I have to talk to the person for them to tell me to go to the thing is bad game zigging.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with those things. It doesn't tarnish my opinions of those games in any way at all, but those are true thoughts. So all that to say, PAX Blitzy,
Get out.
Glad Skyward Sword's coming in. You like it. And that's fun. As I said before, Browns fan 32 said, how dare you skip over Miitopia?
It's true.
Honestly, I just didn't want it to be I was like, I don't know. I said so little about it. It was just the like, I didn't really care about it on 3DS. I don't know if I'm going to care about it now.
Wow.
And that was the whole thing. So I was like, that's not worth putting in a video. Which I'm sure somebody's like, but you put some of the other stuff that you put in there. I did. I made decisions. They happened. Lizdrin said, I thought it was a great direct. Mario Golf had me really excited. Nintendo always goes all in for their sports games. I'm down to play Skyward Sword again. It's been a while. I'm glad they told us there's no news about Breath of the Wild 2 rather than saying nothing.
Yeah.
Super mature move of Nintendo because we'd all be more upset not knowing anything. At least they were upfront and honest. Fully agreed.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have like dinged them for not saying anything, but I think that it saves them by saying they're
yes.
not.
I think it wouldn't have been confusing because
for me, like I would be like, it would be shocking. Like not in a way that's like, man, I would have never expected them to do that. But it would have been one of those things that's like, oh shoot, they're talking about Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Like it would be surprising that they did, right?
That's why I put it in my
than I would be if they did.
I put it in my like super hype.
Yeah, exactly.
Not predictions, but things because I was like, I didn't think it was coming right now.
Right.
Because I mean, especially the thing about this is, to me, the fact that they stuck so closely outside of a couple of games to the first half of 2021-ish means that, there's just more stuff to be announced later throughout the year, whether it's through directs, which currently I suspect that it will be at least one, maybe two more, but if not, whatever. They have more announcements to do as they're closer.
I think and I hope that say we're right and Breath of the Wild 2 is like planned for this year or whatever, right? And even it's planned for next year and it gets delayed to next year because COVID. Right. Yeah. I hope that even though they have things to talk about, they opt not to, because why? Why do they need to?
Yeah, exactly.
How long do they have to hype up Breath? We know Breath of the Wild 2 exists, which we don't need to know. We don't need to know it. All we need is like a date, and people are going to buy it. A date. Yep. How similar is it to the original game? Which changing vaguely? Don't tell me everything, and then give me a date. I'm gonna buy the game. Like I don't need a year of hype. I don't need 2-3 years of hype. I think we already have too much hype for Breath of the Wild 2. Because we know it exists, but we don't even have a title for it. It's that sort of thing where it's like, I hope they don't talk about it, and it's not because it's not ready, but because they are choosing not to talk about it.
Yeah, I fully feel the same way. We're like, I care more about the game coming out than I do about seeing more things about the game before it comes out. So at some point it's going to come out, and that's the important part. Like Lizdrin said, super mature move to do that. And again, like they could have easily just not done it, but then the conversation would have been like, why did they mention other Zelda stuff?
Okay, so
Breath of the Wild 2, and like they just got away from that.
After the last comment, we'll go into the whole thing about like the future direction.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that because
cool.
I have
last comment. So Nitwim said, I'm very hyped for Splatoon 3. The rest of the deck was kind of meh for me. I did think we might see more about Pokemon Snap, but I guess it'll probably just get its own direct closer to launch. Or we just don't see anything about it and just comes out, and we'll get a trailer for sure. But
yeah. I mean, new Pokemon Snap's coming out freaking in April. So it's like, I don't think we need to see more of that game. It's Pokemon Snap. Both in a positive and not necessarily negative, but like realistic way of like, how much do we really need to see? It's Pokemon Snap.
Right.
So yeah, as far as like how good is this direct and like how much did you like, how you feel about that? What is this direct for you?
For me, I thought it was a fun time. There are several things. I mean, we put out the circled things. There's a number of games that I'm excited about coming out of it. So like, as far as my enjoyment of it, I don't think it was like the most mind-blowing thing ever, but I think it was perfect for a February direct where we're finding out about games in the first half of the year that usually is kind of slow. And this year is just not. Like the number of games that we're already getting, and we know about some of them already. So that's, part of it. But I thought it wasn't necessarily a direct that would be fantastic for everybody, but I personally thought it was from all right to great,
So for me, I thought it was good. Like if I rated this direct on a number score, I would give it like an 8 personally. I think like it's probably higher, me as like a content man that outside looking in, like how many games were announced that a lot of people would like, I think it was probably better than that. But just personally, that's what I would give it. Because generally, like for me, I come into directs thinking like I would give something like I want to say 7, or maybe it's higher than 8. So like if I give it like a 7 of like this is good, there's things that I like here. It's usually I come in hoping that we see 1 or 2 games that I want to play.
Yeah,
we got more significant. Like I think there's like 5 or 6 games that I want to play in this direct. So for me, by far and away, it's a great direct. But everybody, whenever they post this thing, it's like, yeah, there's like 5 games that I want to play here, but we waited a year and a half for who cares, dude? Like, because like they don't. I don't think
that's not part of the equation.
I don't think Nintendo did or ever will. Does or ever will think about Nintendo Directs in that way, where it's like, all right, we got a Nintendo Direct on the calendar. Better, better make sure we have our eggs in the row. They don't think about Nintendo Directs in the way that they think about or used to think about E3, right? That's the power of the Nintendo Direct, is that they can announce things when they feel like it, like. And I think that the reason why they shied away from them, like leading up into this, and I think they'll continue to shy away from them, is because they became the opposite of that. People started to, expect them, right?
Right.
And that kind of takes the fun out of it for everybody. I think, especially like I dread Nintendo Directs now,
which reminds me a little bit of our conversation from before we started recording.
Yeah,
the expectations part of it, but yeah. No, like there's, and the other thing too is like it's harder to please and wow this far into the life cycle as well, because like several of these announcements, if they'd come out as things removed whatever in 2018 or 2017, not like that, just pushing the timeline of all of it, like Apex Legend, some game like that being showing in a direct, or Plants vs. Zombies, Battle for Neighborville, or those kinds of things. Like those things would have been more exciting to a lot of people back in 2017 and 2018. But now it's things where it's like, how come Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville isn't on here? Which I mean, I agree with, that's like, that makes sense. But it's hard because like once we start expecting so much, and that like every game should be on the Switch, which again, we talk about this kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, because it's like
then
it
diminishes it somehow.
When you're in that mindset, right, they can't win, right?
Yeah, right.
It would be like we look at it, because again, there's a lot of stuff with the type of videos that we make. There's a lot of stuff that gets announced that we're not particularly surprised by. We're down. We're like, yo, that's a sick game. I'll play that. I'm down. Yes, please. But the problem with that is a lot of people don't also have the thought process of like, yes, awesome, that thing that I saw somebody say, what if this happened? It's happening. Dope. They don't have the thing in their brain that says like, this is good, like this is a W. In their brain, they're like, well, somebody presented this possibility to me before, so therefore it's not a surprise, right? So therefore I'm dinging this direct because it didn't surprise me as much as I would want it to. And I think that that's an unhealthy,
which I mean, same kind of thing. It sucks that there are things that get leaked. Also, I'm blurry on the video and I'm like trying to fix it.
It's exactly. It's similar to that. It's similar to like something getting leaked or spoiled, but it's like because it didn't exist.
Right.
It was just a thing of. I think that it should objectively be like, even if you're not us and it's not a thing that's like, yeah, you are super blurry.
I know. I'm trying to fix it. Do the thing, video. There you go.
It's sort of focusing on your hand a little bit.
I'm trying to get it to.
Nope.
Here, I'll just be really close. Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Just kidding. It'll fix itself at some point.
Just completely changed. But it's, what was I even saying?
Surprises, leaks and stuff.
Oh, like people look at that, like the speculation, as a spoiler now. And I think that's stupid. Right. Like that's very dumb. Like the possibility of something existing is not confirmation of that existence, and that doesn't like discredit it in any way. It doesn't make it any less fun to think about and talk about. For me, like, because I have that in my brain where I'm like, I know I'm not owed this thing. When it happens, it's almost more exciting for me than if I didn't think about it, right? Because then it's like, oh man, that the dream is true. The dream came true.
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally agree. It's just hard. Like I think they're just in a harder position where they have to one up themselves, not just in the thing that's coming out, but in the
thing, like they have to one up themselves both, like actually, like the last thing that they did, and somehow anticipate what people want them to do.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, which I think that's, the problem of most creators of a lot of things these days, like even like musicians, every album needs to be something since the last album, those kinds of things. So
yeah, it needs to be like familiar enough, but also new, but like groundbreaking, but not too much, like it's like
it sucks because it's like I really did feel like, and seeing some of the discourse, I don't know.
Yeah, I was talking to Max about this because Max said that he's already tired of the Nintendo Direct discourse, and I was like a day after the Direct or something like that. I was as soon as they announced the Direct, I was sick of it. I was so done because people were like, "What? So what are predictions? Who cares? Shut up, dude. Just let them announce what they're going to announce because doing predictions is just going to be you being wrong about a thing and then being mad that you're wrong. Like, just don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself or other people. Just enjoy what happens. Like that's just an easier way to exist. And it's frustrating because it's like having that attitude as like a guy with a Nintendo channel reads to those people like, oh, you're just a shill. And it's like, no, I just approach life like that. I just approach life where it's like whatever good thing happens, nice. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like I think that's just a healthier way to approach everything.
I mean, it's like with the WandaVision episodes right now, where like some of them are very like, oh, this is the episode of the meta TV show, a lot longer than I'd like it to be in the episode. But at the same time, like if I'm like, get to the good stuff or whatever, I don't know, like just it's better, it's more enjoyable for me to just sit back and be like, cool, stuff's happening.
Exactly. And I think that for WandaVision specifically, like that's the like case study of why you should approach life like that, because WandaVision contextualize through those things in hindsight where it's like, oh, the sitcom and this happened and that happened and now that's that and that's in real life and that's that and that did what, like that makes everything so much more hype than if it was just a straightforward Marvel movie where it's like, oh, the bad guy's that guy and he's sinister and there's like evil music there and like it's just like they play, ironically it's like playing it straight, right, like doing the big action sequences versus doing like the sitcom of like that makes it so much more engaging and fits the format better, which I mean that's a tangent, but it's similar thing of like it's just easier to like be happy about the world when you're like, I think this Direct was great because there's 8 games that I want to play, like, and there's always people like that. Like it's always people being like, I only want to play 11 games from this Direct. And I'm like, what? Like I want to play a third as many of that, and I think the Direct was significantly better than you're letting on. Like
it is. I'm curious also, like, as content creators and stuff and who read the comments on our videos and stuff, we get the feedback and then it impacts us in some way. Like if every comment on a video was negative, like that, that would suck a little bit. Even sometimes just one is negative. If it's the right kind of negative, then it sucks a little bit too. Right. But that's besides the point. But like, I do wonder how much of a backstep Nintendo, the people making these decisions, how engaged they are with the community's response to it in that regard, definitely some, but I am curious how much.
I feel like it impacts them only. I think Nintendo only lets it impact them in the ways that they want it to, right? Yeah. Like I think that they're aware, but I don't think that I think, and I would hope, because I think that this is how all entertainment brands should be. They refuse to let the fans mold their company.
Yeah, right.
Because like I was talking about before, that dilutes like that dilutes everything.
Mm-hmm.
Where you just make your thing a fan fiction.
Yeah.
And nobody wants that.
I mean, the thing in that case then that I wonder about, the part of the conversation that we had last year about like, do they do directs again, or maybe beginning of this year, do they do directs again, do they not, what's most practical, blah blah blah. Like there's probably an element to which they just like doing them, you know. It's a lot of work, obviously, but
I don't think directs, and I'm pretty sure that we've talked about this, I don't think directs are going to go away.
Yeah,
I think that they're going to be like, and I think that this is the best thing for them, be random.
Yeah.
You know, like they're going to happen when they happen.
Mm-hmm.
They do not want people setting their clocks to directs. They don't want it to be a thing. So they're just like, here it is, you know. And it's like, you called this direct, and we've talked about where it's like they're probably going to announce something here, right? And really the only thing that we're like questioning or like unsure of when we say that is like the way of which they're going to do it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
the other part of that
wasn't like
is
where
like,
you're like, we're probably going to see a direct here. I wasn't like, there's no reason why they would. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. That adds up. Yep, probably. Right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, ultimately, we know that, you know, come July onwards and stuff for this year specifically, there's going to be more games that come out. And either those come out, either they get announced through a direct or through tweets or maybe some other way that we haven't seen yet. So like, to me, it makes sense that at some point when they decide that the second half of, or the third quarter of, or something like that of 2021 needs games to be shown, that they're going to show them in some way. And to me, it makes most sense that it would end up just being another direct. Now they're kind of back in the groove with that. But if we get up to there and there hasn't been a direct, then it's come some other way, you know, like, there's nothing showing that they don't have games coming. So like, at least now we can, you know,
I think the
take a chill pill.
I think how they, especially in the early days of the Smash DLC like release schedule, that kind of informed where I think their head's at with announcing things, because they didn't quarterly
do a formula, and then it wasn't, and then they changed it.
It never really was with how it like broke out to that, as far as like we released a character here and here and here, but they didn't have a formula to how they announced the character. Like Joker, they were like Game Awards, hey, Joker's in the game, random night at, I want to say almost midnight, they're like, here's this Joker trailer, he's coming out tomorrow. You know, like they didn't do this whole thing of like, it's Sakurai Presents and that we're going to get the character next week. You know, like they always try to switch it up somehow. And I
which
think
is either the fact that they like to try to switch it up, or that they're just like taking it one thing at a time and just be like,
who works at the Nintendo Treehouse, he just flat out said like, we want to switch it up. We don't want to like always do the same thing the same way. Yeah, exactly. but that's like that's their tagline. Their whole thing, they're always talking about how they want to surprise and delight. And this whole thing of like quarterly directs, it's time for the Q2 Nintendo Direct. That's so antithetical to that, you know? So it's like, if it works for them, and it's like, that would be exciting because people don't think that it's going to happen, we'll do it, you know? Like they got to the point now where nobody expected this direct, and like in a way that's like for sure it's going to happen. There are obviously people like us where it's like probably, you know, but like nobody was like, again, setting their clock to it to the point where if it didn't happen, people were going to be upset.
Right.
And I think that's just a good place to be.
I think that's great. Yeah, that was something that I was very happy about. I mean, again, like even despite that, people were disappointed. Like some people are disappointed, which is like, come on, guys. But
yeah, people were, and that's the thing that's annoying about directs, period. Because like the direct in and of itself, there was no way people are going to be like even like mostly pleased with the direct, right? Because it's like they factor that in where it's like, it's been this many days before the direct. And we kind of played into that with the video where it's like, it's been this many days to the direct. But like it doesn't really factor into like how we feel about it. It wasn't like, oh, it's been this many, because it's not like we haven't.
It's not been that many days.
Exactly. That's the only time that I would be like on board with these people, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. That's messed up. pandemic withstanding, where it's like it's been 530 days without a video game. Like then I'm like, I don't know, Nintendo, you're messing up here. But like it's been 530 days since you specifically compiled a number of adverts in the way that I want you to do it, you know, because it hasn't even been 530 days without a direct, you know, but people have arbitrarily put these like distinctions on what makes a real direct and a new direct, and the way that like Nintendo fans love to do, because Nintendo, I feel like, goes out of their way to not really like make distinctions like that, especially going into something. Like they might put things into like compartments in retrospect. Like they might say like, in retrospect, these are this type of Zelda game, and this is this type of Zelda game. But when they're making a Zelda game, they're not like, oh, we want this to be in the Wind Waker timeline. You know, like they decide that after the fact. That's how I think they approach everything. Is how they approach the Zelda timeline, where it's like, oh, and this makes sense with this, and this. I mean, it's the
Miyamoto, like, think about the mechanics or think about what's fun, and then extrapolate from there. You know, like
then figure out the logistics. Exactly.
So yeah, that's our thoughts on the Direct and all that. There it is. We did it. Moving on now to your video. You made a video about Bowser's Fury and all that stuff. Any comments before we get into it?
I just did the thing that I feel like is like another. There's like there's a selection of things that in my head is like our thing, and a thing that's like very our thing is like everybody on the internet is talking about this. What's a way to talk about this that isn't the way that people on the internet are talking about this? And not even in a like contrarian sort of way. It's always very like genuine and like, this is how I feel about this.
Right. Yeah.
But it's still like, but like, here's this perspective though, you know? Not trying to get the bandwagon clicks, just but like this though. What about have you thought about it in this way? You know? Because I feel like the rest of the internet does the bandwagon click thing where they're like, ooh, us too. We also think that what gamers are rallying behind right now, you know?
Like, no, I mean, I definitely agree. Yeah, I agreed with your video. So I beat Bowser's Fury over this week. It was one of the games I was playing that I didn't talk about in the games we're playing part because talking about it here. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't know, I don't know that I think the Bowser showing up at random times was implemented as well as it could have been throughout the whole game. That's especially if you're 100%ing it. There were a lot of times towards the end where I was like, I'm just going to die so that he can go away. There's not a shine around here.
So specifically, because I didn't like beat it. Like I didn't get the 100 shines yet. I just got the 50 and then I made the video, and then I haven't had the chance to play it again since then because I've been streaming the OG 3D world most of the time. So it's like, that last 2 or 3 shines that you have to get in the stretch, like the final stretch to 50, it's so annoying because he doesn't go away.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm like, that specifically is bad game design. You know,
and that's and that phase happens again later randomly, like every 5 times or whatever after you get the 50, and when you're coming back to 100% and stuff. There's just more times that it'll come back
like 60 or something like that now.
And like, it's annoying because like at one point I was like, okay, well I just want him to go away, so I'll just fight him again. And it does the full boss fight and the full credits again. And I was like,
I saw that the last time. Well, I didn't know that they did the credits because like I did it. I had to do something. I like stopped playing. I had to do something. So I didn't finish the boss battle, but I realized it's like, oh no, this is like the final
it's the final boss battle.
I'm attacking the Gigabells and stuff like
including the the Gigabells things where you're going through with the Plessy and all that. So that just seemed like a mistake to me as far as like thinking about the minute to minute flow after that point. But like, I mean, it's not a huge deal, but it was just like I liked the imposing Bowser kind of thing, and I didn't want it to become a nuisance, and it became a nuisance.
To me, it's like, it's not something that's like a huge thing on the game because like this whole thing feels like a proof of concept sort of situation. So for them to have like a proof of concept, have something that's like doesn't feel totally fleshed out, I mean, that's what it's proof of concept for, you know. So I think that it did its job at what it's trying to do, and I think that there's potential to like flesh that out and make it something really cool. Like I think if they do Bowser's Fury and like every world is a Bowser's Fury like level, you know, almost. And then it's like this one is the, you know, warped Bowser Fury world. And you know, like they break it up like that. Where because they do worlds where it's like, and this is Lemmy's one, you know, this is the one where you fight Lemmy in the castle. But you don't deal with Lemmy but more than once or maybe twice in some games where it's like, all right, here's the first time you fight Lemmy, and then you get to his bigger castle and now he disappears, you know, some stuff like that. Right.
And I think with that kind of thing, like the mechanics of it being pretty different from it's not the same. You're interacting with them in a different way where like suddenly when Lemmy shows up for some reason, things turn invisible or something like that, where it's like, it's not more stressful in a like, there's fire that's out to get me, but it's things are just different, but in a different way.
It doesn't feel like Bowser's Fury does where it's like, I beat him one time, so now he's harder. You know, it's like, this is like different.
Yeah. So just, it's pretty much like an A and B world of every kind of world that can switch between them, both of which are fun, ideally. So, but here's some comments from your video. James Stevens says, I really like the Metroid-esque ideas for power-ups. It would be cool if it's also highly customizable and varies depending on what you put effort into. Would be a way to allow for a bit of expansion in an otherwise linear playthrough.
Right. Yeah, that'd be dope if it was like, I want to level up my cat suit, and you're like, but I'm leveling up the boomerang, you know, like that would be sick.
Yep. Yeah. And then there's like different, you know, collectibles or something like that you can get with one of them or the other, or several of them, but only if they're leveled up in different ways where they have a different, you know, challenge to get through them. That's fun. Grimhain said, shark suit, enhanced swim speed, underwater breathing skills, and kills by running into enemies head on. Nice. Still vulnerable from behind, above, and below. The trade-off being that you must keep moving once you get it, and you lose it if you exit the water. This, of course, assumes they continue the breath mechanic we saw in Odyssey, as well as designing levels which aren't purely underwater.
Yeah. I think that could work. That'd be good. I like that. I could make water levels more fun, especially like 3D water levels are like, I want to say universally bad. I can't think of a 3D water level that is not bad, or at least annoying. You know,
like, I mean, the Seaside Kingdom in Odyssey did some. Honestly, Odyssey is the only game I think that does 3D ones well, because you get power-ups of like the fish and stuff like that, to where it's like you can traverse it in a different way than Mario's moveset. But Mario's moveset in the water, garbage, not good.
Bad, yeah.
Like, and especially in Bowser's Fury, that was anytime. Plessy was great. Like Plessy is awesome. Yep. But anytime I'm like, oh, Plessy's over there in the middle of the lake.
I fell as Mario. I'm like, just kill me now. Currently.
Yeah, it's not good.
End my existence.
So a good way to do that, I mean, honestly, the shark could feel similar to Plessy in that regard, but underwater.
Right.
Yeah, so that'd be cool. Trevor Steinberg says they should do a Yoshi power-up where Mario can eat enemies and flutter.
You know what? I put this in here. But in hindsight, I shouldn't put this in here. Bad comment. You should feel bad about yourself, Trevor. No, I'm joking. But they kind of did this already. Because with Cappy, you can take control of Yoshi.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder, does it mean is Mario becomes Yoshi-y, and then does Yoshi ride you looking like Mario, or you just look like Yoshi? Probably. I mean, I think it's the Odyssey.
I think he just means you. Yeah, I think he means you just turn into Yoshi. But they did that already. So
they did do that.
Do your. I'm gonna do it. The YouTube commenter that didn't even do the research. You didn't bad. Unsubscribe.
But obviously, a good idea because it happened. So you know, win-win.
True.
Or lose-win, win-lose.
Lose for the challenge, win for being aware of things that could work in the game and be fun.
True. Good game design.
Unless you played Odyssey, in which case you just gotta hold the L because you didn't remember that this was the thing.
Sec KC said Frankenstein or any horror movie themed. Oh,
what would that
interesting.
Do? What would it do? Is the question. I think Frankenstein, and I think that's probably going to be bad. Like, it's probably going to feel terrible to control Mario as freaking
Yeah,
Frankenstein, dude.
like
But like, if he was like freaking Dracula or something, that could be sick. Like,
that would
it's
be. I
just
mean,
a
like a whole
Castlevania
haunted.
boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
just
mean, a
being
whole
Alucard
haunted world
and
and stuff,
freaking.
and then different
Mhm.
power-ups that like, I mean, the Frankenstein to me feels like it would be a similar one to like the Goomba hat in Mario Maker 2, where like you blend in with them, or or the monster mask
Yeah, and that
in
feels like garbage
Breath of the
to
Wild,
control. Well, the
where
garbage. I
like,
mean, the monster mask is whatever,
mhm.
but the Goomba hat
Well,
thing.
not necessarily to control, but something where they don't see you as an enemy anymore is
Yeah,
mostly what
yeah,
I'm thinking.
yeah.
And then
Mhm.
something with that. But then, yeah, Dracula turned into a bat at some points for a
Yep, yep,
limited
yep,
amount of
yep, yep.
time. Can like, um, a wolf at some point, like a werewolf.
Mhm, mhm,
That could be
mhm.
cool. And then if you have the Twilight Princess amiibo, you can be the wolf,
Wolf
Twilight
Link,
Princess wolf.
yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
fun
The
times.
only game where he'll be good to play as.
Josuke Higaskita said Grizzly Bear amiibo. Give him melee and might
You
more.
said Amiibo. He said Mario.
Grizzly Bear Mario. Give him melee and might more physical power. Spider-Man gives him webbing and climbing.
Spider Mario.
What am I doing? I'm
I don't know. Your brain just censored out Mario.
apparently on both ones. That's funny.
You murdered Mario before March 31st. That's crazy.
You'd think it would get him, but I like the Grizzly Bear one. That's fun. Maybe a little
He's
gory,
Banjo.
but like
He's
yeah.
Banjo. He's
Mhm.
Banjo Mario. I'm down.
Yep. Spider, that could be neat too.
It's true.
The movement feels like it could be fun, where it's like maybe a little bit hard to move, like you kind of slippy around unless you're on your webs, where it's like kind of drifting and goes fast. But like you can climb up.
Or is it
so
like Splatoon, where it's like your movement's worse if you're not like in?
Oh
way?
yeah, that too. I wonder
mm-hmm.
how that is for actual spiders. Like, do they move better on their webs or not on their webs?
I doubt it. I don't know how that would work. How that's a thing, you know?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I feel like it just has to be worse. I don't know if it's significantly worse, but I feel like it has to be worse.
It's got to be. Falcon said Biker Mario would be hype. Mario puts on a leather jacket, shades, and a helmet, gets on Harley type motorcycle, and his run speed is increased. He can run over / into enemies and ride up walls, because why not? He loses it the second he touches the body of water. Oh, and he can ride and he can mount and dismount it, kind of like Yoshi, for an extra jump to clear.
Okay, so I was like, wait, is this a suit? So the suit is like him as a biker, but the suit like spawns a bike.
So he turns into Wario on the bike from Smash.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much exactly that, except I mean, I guess he technically loses it if he goes in water. That's a technicality, but like he left the stage, so like yeah.
Yeah. What about like the Animal Crossing stage? Is that the one that I'm thinking of, where there's the water on the side there?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't play on that stage. That's casual garbage, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Good one. So yeah, there we go. That's those. Now we've got a million Q&As.
It's true.
Let's do it.
I joked about that and said that's casual garbage, but genuinely, Smash Ultimate is like the game that I've played the least amount of like the stages. Like every other Smash Brothers game, I've played a lot more like casual, like just friends and family, you know, but Ultimate has mostly been me just like, you know, playing the game. Like
interesting. Yeah. Do you think that's just because of the people that you play with more often?
Yep. Yeah. Yes. I wouldn't say there's like 60 stages that I've literally never played on in Ultimate, not a single time. I've played on them in older games, but in Ultimate specifically have never, except for the new ones. Like the new stages, like I think I played on the new stages just do like classic mode and like demos before the game came out, sort of like the Splatoon stage and stuff like that. But just like actually picking the game on the menu.
I mean, and this is how we're different, because I've probably played all of the stages once and some of them multiple times, but like
I have played.
Whereas you played several of them an infinite number
Yeah,
of times.
exactly. I played like 15 stages hundreds of times,
Yeah,
but
definitely
every
more than
other
hundreds.
stage,
Yeah,
never once, never even a single time.
That's funny. Yep. All right, so here's Q&A. YouTube community. Lizdrin says, I can't believe they didn't even mention. Oh yeah, I asked if what people thought about the direct, and let me refresh the poll real quick. I did a poll with it was great, it was all right, it wasn't that good, it was awful, and what direct?
It sucked.
And okay, this is about what I was hoping for as a response. 22% said it was great. 55% said it was all right. So that's yeah, I'm down with. I would agree with that for people. 16% said it wasn't that good. That's fine. 4% said it was awful. A little dramatic, but whatever. And 2% said what direct. So
Gotcha.
who knows? So there we go. Okay. Lizdrin said, I can't believe they didn't even mention
Reggie. Reggie said what direct.
I didn't hear about that. They didn't even mention Donkey Kong 3D Island. I know, man.
How dare they?
Did.
That was a personal attack.
What do you think is the future of Donkey Kong at this point? To be honest,
I think that they're going to make another Donkey Kong game. I think at some point they're going to do a 3D Donkey Kong. I don't know if it's going to be the next one. I feel like they might do like a 2D Donkey Kong Country to like be like, all right, this is the trilogy. I don't know if retro. I'd assume they have enough people on staff to have more, because like somebody said, I saw that in a video or something, or maybe it was a tweet that somebody was like, Retro Studios has 2 studios, and I was like, that's not how that works. Like no they don't. You know, they probably have multiple teams, but they don't have 2 studios, you know.
Right. I mean, the other thing, because they wouldn't have specific like assets already that they would pull forward other than a model for Donkey Kong and those kinds of things. I mean, maybe some enemy types that would come back. Maybe they'd use their wireframes or something. I don't know. But they do have the physics engine, ish, like his movement, they would want to feel the same. So like they were a little ahead of the game in any case, if they wanted to do a new one. So, I don't know how much of a game that is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't make games, so I don't know if that's that much of a leg up.
I feel like I feel like they will want to like do it. You know, like even if Retro did, they would want to like make it from scratch in the same way that like Smash Brothers Ultimate is like from scratch, where it's like based on the last thing that they did, but they're going to like make new models like or upgrade the current ones. Add more fur. Change some like the physics a little bit, like that sort of thing. Like
it is crazy to me in Smash how much we're used to now the launch speed, even though it's so different from how it used to be.
Because I think I was talking to Falcon about that, where it's like before the game came out, I was like, yo, what the heck? Like, what is even happening? And now it's just like, that happened. Oh no, he just did the thing. I mean, the thing where Falcon was like, what even happened there with the Pokemon trainer thing? I would never be able to break that down before Ultimate came out. I would never be able to be like, oh yeah, he just wall clinged and then he jumped up and then he switched to Ivysaur and then he stalled and then, I wouldn't be able to. It would be too fast. I don't know, dude. But now it's just like it's it now.
That's the way it is. Brandon Hart said, given what we saw in the Direct, what do you see Nintendo's second half of 2021 looking like?
Splatoon 4.
Splatoon 5, honestly.
Facts.
It's hard to say 100%. The things that like
I think we're getting more Zelda stuff. I think
definitely more Zelda stuff.
A no-brainer.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to say this. Okay, if this is the year Zelda and all that stuff, which it will be, I wouldn't be surprised if
it's
still
the year Pokemon, but Zelda.
That's true. If Breath of the Wild 2 is this holiday and Wind Waker and Twilight Princess is the Bowser's Fury-ish one.
I don't know about that.
For it to be the big holiday game. Because,
I feel like because Bowser's Fury that was their holiday game. There's no way that wasn't their holiday game.
Right.
So I feel like that's where Breath of the Wild's at, where it's like that's their holiday game. And if they're going to push something back to give it more time in the oven, it's going to be that.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the thing is they're not going to put out a game that's not done, especially that. So like I'm sure that's the game they would like to come out in holiday no matter what. But if it can't be, then they won't, And
exactly. That's what I think. Like, I think like if they're going to, even if it's to the point where it's like, okay, we're not going to be able to finish any of these if we don't prioritize one of them. I think that they're going to prioritize finishing, like, as far as like the amount of within the allotted time that they have before the year's over. I think they're going to say, okay, let's finish the smaller stuff first, and we'll push out Breath of the Wild later, because we know that that's going to sell great anyway, right?
Yeah.
But the other stuff, they would benefit more from the holiday push. So I feel like that's probably what they would say, like, hey, here's this thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think that immediately after Breath of the Wild is a bad time to release anything that's not Breath of the Wild. Like, I think anything Zelda that's not Breath of the Wild, because 5 months from when it comes out, people are probably going to be hungry for more Zelda or curious about Zelda, you know, like, so they'll release more stuff like that. But 2 months later, people are still playing Breath of the Wild. Why would you put a Zelda game out, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the other question too is, would they make Wind Waker Twilight Princess HD combo, would they make it timed exclusive? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But if they did, they would have to do it early enough, you know, to be able to do that. So, because that's, I mean, like we've talked about before with like Metroid Prime Trilogy going into Metroid Prime 4, whenever those happen, that like they've got to give it enough space not to have burnout by the time it comes out.
Yeah,
and like,
but I think with those,
not that I'm worried about those ones, because Metroid Prime 4 is so far out anywhere. But like similarly with Zelda,
even with that, I think that like they could say, like, here's the Zelda trilogy. It comes out in May or whatever, right? And then Breath of the Wild 2 comes out in November, and they're not really worried about that, because there's no real reason for you to have to play through every game that's on that cartridge. And most people probably will not, you know? It's not something that's like, I gotta study up before Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. Whereas I feel like the Metroid Prime trilogy feels more like that, because it's the Metroid Prime trilogy, you know?
Right.
Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask have nothing to do outside of like, oh, this is this is Lon Lon Ranch, you know? Like, but there's no like, I don't know what's happening because I didn't play Majora's Mask, you know? It's like,
yeah. So to answer the initial question, I don't have. What do you see the second half of 2021 looking like? More Zelda, and I'll just broadly say lots of games. Like I feel like it's going to be just a solid second half of the year with how packed the first half of the year is, and it is. Even if we didn't feel like this direct for you specifically was like a banger or whatever, there's just already so much stuff that's coming out that like this year is going to be packed.
And there's pretty much never, even if we're like, we look at like last year where people are like, the only thing that came out was Animal Crossing, you know, like there's people that genuinely felt that way. Last year's first half was lighter than its second half, and that's always how Nintendo operates, because they make 70% of their money during that time, you know, that time frame. They're like, all right, we're going to sell 3 million Switches per quarter or whatever. And then holiday comes in, we sold 11 million, you know, like that. It's just how it works. So I think that we're probably like, there's no way that we're going to have a first half that's this packed and then not have a second half that's more packed, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, so that's what I think. And what AJ thinks. Moving on, Connor Kilpatrick said, my main issue is Nintendo's online service hampering these experiences. I'm super interested in Mario Golf, but there's no way that'll pay for that product without being able to easily play with my friends and chat. Nintendo games could be elevated by a better online experience, and it majorly annoys me.
I think the chat changes that for me. Like this comment. Because I would be like, I disagree, especially from Mario Golf. But the chat part, I can see that. I don't, like, for me personally, it doesn't really matter because I'm just going to use Discord for chat anyway. But chat, I can see that being an issue.
Especially with something like Mario Golf being like more silly and stuff like that. If you don't have means that you're doing it outside of that, then it feels like the kind of thing that like you're going to want to chat in and
exactly right
laugh about shenanigans and whatnot.
Because like when I think of people saying, I mean, and we kind of talked about this when I made the online video, because I feel like people present it poorly. When I think about people complaining about online, Switch Online, Nintendo's online service, it sounds like they're complaining about the technical side of it, the actual like infrastructure, their systems, but they're talking about the features that are outside of that. And that I can see being hampered by how Switch Online is. I think Mario Golf is the game that we need to worry about the least needing good online, especially like regular golf. Maybe Rush Golf, maybe, even though it doesn't even look like it's something that's like, it turns into a Mario game, press forward on the analog stick. Right. It looks more like it turns into Mario Sonic at the Winter Olympics, or Mario's first in that, right? He has to be. Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympics or whatever. Press the A button a bunch of times. That's not going to get hurt by the way that their online works in that way. But like I said, chat makes sense. But I'm just going to use Discord anyway, so it doesn't really worry me.
Go Fish Goldfish.
And Parker's just not going to play it online with me anyway. So
I need to. I would very much like to play.
But you won't. You're never.
I just don't. But I would like to. Tell me a time and we'll do it. I don't know.
At this point, you might as well just stream it, dude. Like at that point, if we got to do appointment, playtime, it might as well be a stream.
Go Fish. That's the thing too. I just never play. I just play at such.
You don't play games
times.
Online,
yeah, right. I don't play games online, but even when I just play,
playing random doesn't hurt me. I'm not a person that clocks in anywhere, so you can literally just be like, as long as it's not Monday. Pretty much at all. Monday nights is easier for me sometimes because I try to divvy up how I make videos. I don't want to do it. I try not to do it all in one shot if I can help it. So Monday nights are usually safe-ish for me to like play games because I film everything and I'm like, all right, the rest of that is a tomorrow me problem. I didn't even talk about this. I had to refilm my video day of, and I was upset because how I'm filming my videos through Streamlabs OBS, or how I film all my videos is through Streamlabs OBS. And before that, because it's the same thing that I use for stream, before that, I mute all the stream stuff. I mute the game audio, especially since now I usually have the TV on with the game on in the background or whatever. I try to mute that. I mute all the alert audio and stuff like that. This time I muted everything. I muted everything but the game audio. So I muted my mic, and I'm looking at the waveform and I'm like, that looks oddly uniform before I do anything to the audio at all, and it looks lower than usual. That's strange. There's no like high peaks. That's weird. Just and I pressed the play button. And I was like, I don't hear anything. But I was like, oh, my AirPods aren't connected. That's why I don't hear anything. So then I connected it and I heard the Mario music. I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, so how am I going to do this? Am I going, because before I figured out this whole Streamlabs setup and stuff like that, it would just be easier for me to record it, just do all audio. But now it turns out on camera is easier for me because I can just talk at the camera, and then that makes editing it easier because it's like, oh, this part I don't have to put anything specific on the screen. I could just have me talking. So I just refilmed it and it was annoying.
That sucks. I've had to do that a couple of times and it's the worst. That's all.
Dude. It sucks.
Go Fish Goldfish said, in response to the poll, the direct was theoretically great. Wink, wink. I like it.
The branding.
The branding. We got something related to Mario, which was the announcement I was the most excited about. We got 3 Zelda announcements: Age of Calamity DLC, Skyward Sword, and new Joy-Con. Oh yeah, the Joy-Con.
Yo, the Joy-Con.
We didn't talk about them.
The Joy-Con. How did we not talk about the Joy-Con? Us specifically.
Because it wasn't in that.
About new blue Joy-Con. I was going to say so Blue nice. Boy Zelda Joy-Con. I'm getting them. I'm kind of mad that they're not like the same color blue. That kind of makes me upset.
That is odd. Yeah.
I mean, it's not, but it is, like it tracks, it's on brand. It's the sort of thing that they do with Joy-Con.
And they're just so barely off from each other. Yeah. That's the part that's weird to me, where it's like.
Also, I think that it almost makes it like, I don't want to say worse, but kind of worse that they have a design on them and they're like off colored. Right? Like that's the thing that makes it super weird for me. Cause like if they had a design on them and they were like if it was like the Hylian's shield and the Master Sword, and like one side was silver and the other side was blue, then I'd be like, okay, that makes sense thematically. But the fact that it's like, this is like, I think they're the same design on both, and one is like a slightly different blue than the other side, is like an odd choice. So like,
I'm going to share my screen right now for just because it was relevant, I was looking over at my desktop picture, and I've got Link over here in the Breath of the Wild stuff. I just noticed that in the promotional material, he's got just a traveler's shield and a traveler's sword. I don't know. I never just noticed that before, but it's
Wait,
not
did you
the
think
Master
that
Sword. It's
Yeah,
not the
no,
Highland Shield.
because that would have been spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's just like definitely the first game where there's key art of Link, Boy Zelda, and he's got different swords than, you know, the Master Sword and Highland Shield. Weird. That's all.
It's true.
But yeah, I agree with you. But yes, continuing on, we got a new Smash character. There were titles clearly targeted for younger audiences, which I completely zoned out during, and they announced a sequel to a franchise with a dedicated fan base. All of these things have their own set of caveats, but on paper, the Direct seems great. Hot take, maybe the reason why people kept speculating on Direct being dead is because they were ready to move on to a different format. They just needed a general Direct to realize it. As in, those people, I think, needed... Yeah. Like that this Direct was the prompt for the people to realize that they themselves were ready to move to a different format.
Yeah. I think that people, I think there's two different types of people about speculating about the Directs being dead. Is like the people it's like, it's been 500 days, so obviously they're never going to do it again. And then there's also the people that are kind of like me, and I want to say you, where it's like they don't really make sense anymore. Like they make sense in the sense that they're exciting for us as people that just like video games, removed from the fact that they're annoying for me. I don't know how annoying they are for you in the interim or the after effect, you know, all of the above, you know, where it's like the Direct itself, hype. If I could just watch a Direct in a vacuum, and I didn't have to, like, there was nothing, you know, after the fact with people complaining or, you know, overhyping or whatever the case may be, people's internet way of consuming things, where they just make everything terrible. Removed from that, Directs are hype, but because of that, and because it can't exist in a vacuum, I think that they're flawed, and they got to go back to the drawing board. And I think they realized that 530 days ago or whatever.
No, yeah, I mean, I think I'm not quite as far on the spectrum of because I pretty much just tune out people. Like, if somebody's complaining about it, I'm just like, okay, whatever, you know, and that makes it to where I just don't care so much about that side and more just enjoy it for myself. But that's definitely a valid thing. And then as far as, but I definitely agree that like the number of people that were saying Directs are dead before this obviously felt like it felt like the safe prediction. That the reason Directs are dead is because Nintendo hadn't done them. Right. And that was it. You know, and like,
there was no depth to that prediction. It was like, there hasn't been one in 530 days. It wasn't like, okay, there hasn't been a Direct in a long time, a real Direct, a general Direct in however many days. And it's because they don't work as intended. You know, it's like, obviously they get their point across and they're good marketing and stuff like that, but they don't work in the sense that they do other things and they did just as well, if not better in some cases.
I think it's hard because kind of like the one-upping thing, like every time Nintendo has the thing, they're like, these are the games that we have to be able to announce. We can't make this be better or worse than a time that we had different things to announce. We just can't. Like, that's just not
the only way that so
it's expectations.
It almost feels like
thing, you know?
Like you're not like super into the, like, obviously like you're a YouTuber, but you're not into the YouTubing world in the same way. Where it's like you're paying attention to the scene and the history of it and all that. But it feels like family vloggers, where they started and they gain an audience because their life is interesting, but they feel like they need to live their life for their audience after a certain point. Nintendo,
and they go on trips so that it's like, look, I'm going on this trip, everybody, and showing it off. Yeah, I mean, it's just power creep, you know? Like,
it's that exactly.
And the thing is,
and it's not like Nintendo
power creep.
Exactly. Nintendo never gave into that. They're not like, well, I guess we got to go to the Bahamas because that's what our viewers want to see, right?
Exactly.
They're like, I mean, we're going to make what we're going to make, and if we make a Direct out of it, we're going to make a Direct, and if we don't, we don't. You know, period.
Right. Yeah. So I think the expectations are just higher for the platform, for the individual, for the games that are going to come out and stuff. So I don't even know. I totally go fish, goldfish. I totally get what you mean in terms of like people being ready to move on. And maybe that is the case in terms of people being ready to move on to a different format. I think a lot of the people, it is also just that their expectations have become too high for the thing that they're already used to. And so that's the thing that makes it hard. Whereas if you can, it's like the whole, like, what do they do with the next Smash Brothers? If they just make a fully new concept of a thing, then there's no precedent to have to relate it to. You can start from scratch and it works out great. But if you always have to one up yourself, then like that, becomes a thing for sure. So yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
Theoretically great. Good comment. I liked it. The Supervan said, were there any games that you thought would be there and were disappointed when they weren't? Obviously Breath of the Wild 2, but were there any others?
No. I mean, we talked for like an hour plus about why that's not the case. Yeah. But there are games that we wanted to be there that would be like, this would be cool, not necessarily expected, but we're like, this would be neat. And I can't say I was disappointed. Most of the games that I would be hyped for, and like I would be disappointed if I did have that mindset, I didn't expect to be there.
Yeah, right.
Like Pokemon would be a game that's like, oh, hi, that'd be dope, blah, blah. But I didn't expect to be there because it's not February 28th or whatever, right? Like, this isn't a Pokemon Company presentation. I mean,
and also on top of that, that would be, if we're taking them at their word, which is better to do, it's first half of 2021. Exactly, so it's not first half of 2021, so like most of the games that I'd be super excited for are also
would not be first half, right?
Would probably be holiday type games, that's definitely not always the case, but often it is. So I feel the same way.
So in other words, Parker is going to make a diss track to Nintendo because they didn't talk about Hollow Knight Silk Song.
True that. I did think Hollow Knight. Yeah. I told Ashley, by the way, about the Kanye Beyblades thing, and and she was like, "Oh yeah, that," and she was happy. That is carry on. Gavin Foote said, "Bigger Mario game. That's all I needed."
Fair.
All right. There it is. Cool. Said, I know American schools teach Spanish, but is it mandated that you take at least one Spanish class? We take English, Arabic, and French classes every year till we graduate. I think is in the Middle East, I believe somewhere. I don't remember exactly where you said. Maybe Saudi Arabia, maybe somewhere different. But do you speak French in Saudi Arabia? Maybe so. I don't know. I don't know. Did you have to take a language class?
I did not.
Oh, interesting. I feel like Ashley had to take a language class, but like, I feel like she got to choose between like a semester of Spanish or French or whatever else.
Especially high school. High school was mostly optional for me. High school was like a thing. Well, most of my, like, literally, I would just, like, English especially, there would be things where it's like, you know how they do like they'll do like random reading level tests and stuff that, right? Where my teacher would just straight up be like, all right, just leave. Like, get out of here, dude. Like, I'm like, all right, dude. Like,
man. So like, I hate reading and I'm bad at it. So
I hate reading too. But as far as like reading comprehension, they just already knew. They were like, no, you're good. You're fine. And so like, just you go. I was dumb though, like not dumb in like academically. I was dumb because my teacher, similarly to, I think I was talking about this with Full Sail, where like a lot of them were like, why are you here?
Yeah,
like you're already doing the thing that you want to do, but why are you going to school for it? Similarly to that, multiple teachers freshman year of high school were like, we're going to recommend you to skip 2 years. And I was like, nah, I want to stay with my friends, dude.
I mean, that's
dumb, stupid me. I should have skipped those 2 years. If that's you, person listening, skip the 2 years.
Yeah. I was in France growing up, but I went to French public school through elementary school, and every Tuesday,
so like, was it mandated for you to speak French?
Yeah, I mean, so it was like I was the only English speaker in our whole school. I mean, it was a small school. It was like just a neighborhood little elementary school, probably like, I don't know, 30 kids in my class or something like that. But But yeah, so like we, only spoke French, and but every Tuesday afternoon they had English classes that they took, and I got to leave and went to a program called English National, which was pretty much like for all the other kids like me, because we were just outside of Geneva, which is fairly international, because that's where the headquarters of, oh man, the UN is, the Geneva Convention, the UN. So other kids that were like English speakers but going to French school would come to English National, because that's when all of the schools would do English lessons on Tuesday afternoons, and we would pretty much just learn English grammar and just English class for like an afternoon straight. But my friends at that point, in like, when I was 7 or something, were starting to learn English, and they would, my French friends trying to talk to me in English and be like, look what I can say. And I was like,
and that's
dude,
what they said. That's what they said. Look what I can say.
Look what I can say. And no, but it was like, I remember specifically, my French friend saying something to me. His name is Stu. And I was like, dude, he was like, what am I saying? Hello, how are you doing? And I was like, try that again. Hello, how are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, oh, wow, you don't even speak English, do you? And I was like, no, you're just speaking so badly. He's 7. Like, that's just how it works. But at the time, like, yeah, I didn't think of it that way. So all that to say, yep, Spanish class, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Continuing on with Cool's question. This question is for Parker, since we've both been reintroduced into gaming because of Breath of the Wild and the Switch. What games/types of games are you focusing on playing, and where do you get your recommendations from? I take recommendations from friends, but I'm also kind of focusing on Nintendo games and big third-party games that look interesting. I mean, I'd say, like, as far as this, obviously we've both been reintroduced in the same way, but now that we're in it, I feel like AJ, you and I are, think about this stuff pretty much the same way. Yeah, I would think. Mm-hmm. As far as, I mean, like it depends, I think, for a lot of people, what genres they enjoy at all. For me, and like also I feel like it's just changing in the past couple of months. Like it had been prior to doing content things, I would just always like to have one game at a time that I was playing. And that doesn't necessarily need to be a new game or an old game, but like a lot of times it was like a bang for your buck kind of game, like a big old RPG, because you can get a lot of hours out of that or something along those lines. But I don't know. It's just whatever, seems interesting to you. But I think as far as where to get recommendations, sometimes it's just
/fanatixfour.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is like, sometimes it's just looking at a trailer and being like, that trailer looks cool, or that game's on sale, I'll check it out. But otherwise, I always think it's like, what people you have similar opinions to about games, and then go with that. Like, I know if I listen to Nintendo voice chat or something from IGN, like, I know that I like some of their opinions fairly well, but more often than not, Jonathan, what's his name? Whatever.
Jonathan Dornbush?
That is a name. Is that?
He's from IGN.
He is. I know. That's what. Am I so
But if you're
dumb?
talking about Nintendo voice chat, he's not usually on.
No, yeah. Okay, so I'm not thinking. Whatever. A guy.
Zach Ryan.
No. The guy, bow ties.
Oh my God. What is
Why am I forgetting his name?
I'm blanking on his name too.
IGN bow tie. That's how I'm looking at him up.
God, what is his name? I'm so sorry, person, that I don't know your name.
Yep.
But like,
in any case, every time he gives a suggestion, more often than not,
somebody in the comments is going to know exactly what it is. I know what he looks like. I see him in my mind's eye.
100%.
But I don't know his name, or I don't remember his name. I've known.
So I'll let you answer, and I'm going to try to find.
You didn't even ask me a question. I literally just look at trailers. I do research on the game, and that tells me whether or not I want to check the game out or not. Mm-hmm. I don't really do the content thing, because when I watch people other than like, now I don't watch Bob's videos about stuff like that. I usually watch Bob's videos about stuff that like I am like interested in tangentially, like stuff that's like, oh, that's an interesting storyline of like Bob figuring out how to like transition to keyboard gaming, like I'm not interested in that for me. I'm not planning on doing that on any level, but the whole like, story of him doing it is interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't really watch the like top 10 indie game, like that sort of stuff, because like that's just the sort of stuff that I already know and I would make. So I don't really need to watch somebody else tell me about that,
Tom Marks.
Just research for me.
By the way, it's
That's
Tom
his
Marks.
name.
Man, I don't.
The first thing that
Tom,
came
if
to
you ever
my
listen to
mind
this,
was
you're
something
great,
with
and I
an
love you,
M.
but yeah, I mean, Marks.
Something with the M. Yeah,
it.
exactly. That's the thing that like came to my head. I didn't even think about his first name.
Yeah. So I mean, I think like you said too, AJ, and stuff. Some of this is also just like knowing what you like, what's similar to that, knowing what kind of people you trust, and then when to just take risks, because why not? Like there's some games where they're cheap enough where it's like, I've got $10, I've got $5, I've got 35 cents, whatever the game is, if it's on sale or something like that. Like I bought, I haven't played it at all yet, but when I tried to make the Australian account the other day, I had some gold coins that I needed to use up before I wanted to switch it, which then I couldn't switch it, whatever. And so Ollie Switch Stance was on sale for like $2. And I remembered Will and Bob, I think, talking about that at some point. So I was like, whatever. I've heard about this. I'm going to get it because it's cheap.
Yeah, it was probably like during like the backlog rest.
Yeah, something like that. So, and then last bit of this question, Kukul said, have any of you guys played Hotline Miami? The collection is on sale on the PS4 store for $5, and that's not a lot, but I don't want to spend $5 and not play the games. Would you recommend them?
I played a little bit of them. I know that they're like highly regarded. What I played of them is fine, but it's not really my type of game. And I think more specifically, the reason why I didn't play it is because content, like most times when I'm playing a game, like part of the consideration, not the whole consideration, because obviously it's more the other way around, where it's like, I like this game, so I want to make a video about it. But in the back of my head, whenever I'm about to play a game, I'm like, would I make a video about this? And I know I would make a video about Hotline Miami. So I was like, I'm not committing to this game, but I would recommend it if it looks interesting to you on any level.
Kind
if
of
the only question
early
is
GTA-ish, right?
Good, like if you look at it and you're like, is this game good? I would say probably yes. As far as that, if it looks interesting to you, pick it up. Yeah, especially for $5.
I mean, but yeah, exactly. You can tell with that kind of thing. Like Project Triangle Strategy is a good game, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be a game that interests specific individual. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that was the other thing that
you can tell off of that.
Like as far as like, and we've talked about this before. For me, like the people that like, and this is more so a peers thing for me anyway. Whenever I hear a peer talk about a game, even if I usually don't agree with them games wise, I am able to hear them talk about it and know whether I'm going to like it or not. And that is a credit to them just being able to like describe the game, but also it's a credit to the fact that like you're able to say like, okay, this person likes this type of game and doesn't like these types of games for this reason, right? Like Parker could explain Smash Brothers to me and I still would be like, oh, that game sounds dope, even though he's probably like, it's fine, like it's like,
right. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely reviews where like the nitpicks that they make about it are like, I don't care, that's fine.
It's like either I don't care, or like for some people, like I would review a Pokemon game or something, like the grinding is annoying, and then some people would be like, awesome, I have a commute.
Exactly. Yeah, I like watching shows and having something to grind. So good question. Cool. Yeah. Let us know if you get Hotline Miami. Be curious to see how you like it if it happens. Yep. I haven't played it, like I said, so I don't know, but there you go. Twitter. Chad Dominique said, with the inclusion of Pyra/Mithra in Smash, do you think there will be a reissue of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 to retailers? Physical copies of the game have become very difficult to find and can only be purchased through Amazon or eBay for $90+.
Oh my God. They would be smart to do that, but I don't think they've ever specifically have done that before. I think best case scenario is they do the ARMS thing. And they didn't even do it for ARMS, actually, now that I think about it.
What was the ARMS thing?
Where they did when Min Min was coming out there, like it's the test thing for a week. You play ARMS for free.
Right.
And a lot of times what they do with those test things is at the end of the test, they discount it 25% or whatever, 33%, I think it usually is. They didn't do that part with ARMS though. They were just like, here's the test. If you want the game, get the game. But honestly, I think that they might do something like that where they like make it playable, like make the first 10 hours playable or something like that for a week.
I was going to say do like a Dragon Quest 11 thing, or even if not for a week, just put up just
have that demo,
5-hour demo or something. Like you can play as far as you get, 5-hour time limit, and that's it.
Is there already? I think there's is there a complete edition with Torna? I think so.
I don't.
Is there not?
I think there was maybe a version that like if you bought the special edition,
I'm thinking, that, and then also like the physical version of Torna.
That's like which I have that and have not played any of it. So there's that. I need to.
Just like Logan.
Yep.
Product provided by Nintendo.
Not mine. Mine was provided by Christmas and my wife.
Yeah, it's true. I'm talking about Logan specifically. They sent us the game.
All right, and then questions from Discord, ones that we didn't get to last week, and looks like we're not gonna. I'm just kidding. No, I'm good. Here we go. Lots of questions because, like I said, we had some backlog of these. Magalore 1000 said, so Nintendo IPs. They're iconic and groundbreaking, but a lot of them are being held back and locked away by Nintendo themselves. My question is, if Nintendo were to outsource their IP, this is actually, I like glanced at this question after we had our conversation last week in the podcast. And I was like, this is exactly the video that we were talking about making, which is very
fun. Literally, as we were talking about that, it, I start, because I don't even have, like, I know you have a document like this where it's like video ideas. I don't have that. I just wake up Monday and I'm like, all right, what do I want to talk about? Unless I specifically like voice to you for whatever epiphany that I had. I was like, I want to make this video. And I'm like, that's the video I'm going to make this week. But for the most part, my videos are very much so, all right, what's the topic of the week?
Yeah, right.
But this was one of the videos I wrote down where I was like, Nintendo, how I typed it, I said Nintendo IP third-party games.
Yeah. So continuing on, my question is, if Nintendo were to outsource their IPs to other gaming companies, who would suit the best with what franchise? Example, Star Fox made by Valve. It would play like Star Wars Squadrons, but in VR, or Rockstar open world Pokemon.
Oh, no, I don't want that.
But I mean, I think instead of answering now, I'm
going to make a video about it. But as far as like, I'm going to answer why I don't want the Rockstar Pokemon. I would want the the Rockstar ideology with how they approach their games and how they fund their games, where it's like, we believe in this game, we're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on this game. But Rockstar's like sensibilities and like the type of games that they want to make and like how they think about games, where it's like, it needs to be hyper realistic and like that, or satire, which in and of itself, in a lot of ways, is hyper realistic, with GTA specifically.
Right.
I don't think Pokemon needs to turn into that. I don't think Pokemon needs to like be this like super serious, like gritty, realistic looking like open world video game. I just think Pokemon needs to be Pokemon the anime, the video game almost. Like I think that is what the next direction of Pokemon should be. Less so that it should be like this like huge open world game that adult gamers would embrace. Because it's like a Rockstar game. Yeah. But yeah, I'll go into like specific ideas. I didn't even think about Star Fox being made by Valve. That could be super interesting. But I don't know if I want it to be Star Wars Squadron either. I feel like too many people want to limit Star Fox, and
I know. Yeah,
I think it could be so much more than what people think it should be.
Yeah. Which, I mean, every time we talk about in the Star Fox video that I made, but then the recent one too, where I brought it back up, like people seem, every time it's like talked about, the like, oh, Star Fox could be something bigger. It seems like, oh yeah, it kind of could be, couldn't it? Like, and that's, or maybe they've already thought of that and then they comment.
Either that or people say like, but Star Fox Adventure or Star Fox Assault, and it's like, yeah, that was 2003. Like, a lot of games, a lot of like third person action games sucked back then. Ocarina of Time. No, I'm joking. I'm not, but I am. Like there's so many genres that were attempted back then that are like thought about differently and established in a much better, consistent, well-designed way.
Yep. Yeah. So there's that. We should talk. Yeah, I don't know. There's a couple different ways we could go with making those videos where like either, one per franchise or not franchise, but
I
like,
think if we want to do it, like do it right. We break it up by franchise.
Yeah.
And we say,
if it were designed by this company, it could be like this, or this one like this.
And like we could either like content, like if we're thinking content, that could be an infinite series, honestly.
Right. Yeah.
Because it could be like, what if Mario was made by this designer? What if Mario was made by this designer? What if Mario, or, if we're not thinking content, TM, we do Mario if it was made by third-party developers, and we mention multiple and like Shotgun Blast sort of thing. I think
the tricky thing is as people know, like we're not artists and things, and so being able to like show it, represent it in a new way is always a little bit tricky. But like at the same time, we've talked about plenty of times, you and I have, that like there's ways to represent ideas visually.
That's the thing I'm least worried about.
Yeah.
The thing I'm worried about is the thumbnail. That's the thing that I'm trying to figure out.
Honestly,
in my head, I'm like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like,
that's something, if you're watching this or listening to this, like it is surprising how much thought needs to go into.
This is a question for the community. Anybody, an artist that can make like freaking dope art, like thumbnails, like freaking, you ever see like Afro Senju thumbnails, people in the community? If you can make stuff like that, hit me up. DM me. Email me, aj@fanatixfour.com. We can talk.
Send a carrier pigeon. Yell really, really loud.
Yell at your phone.
But yeah. Good comment though. That was great. And like perfect timing that was asked and we talked about it. That's continuing on. Lord Commander Grimhane said, what would happen if an infinite void was struck by an infinite substance?
Pokemon would become real.
I was gonna say
it's like the
very
Thanos
loud
snap,
fart,
but in
probably a very loud fart.
It's like
that's probably it. Just like the Thanos snap.
Dude. It's the Iron Man snap.
You're right. Spoilers. Ugh, goodness.
Dude, the movie came out like freaking a century ago.
Alec is Baking asks, when is the video mourning all of AJ's deceased Pokemon being uploaded?
Once I'm done. I gotta finish. I gotta like actually do it. I gotta complete the game before I can mourn my dead Pokemon. I didn't even. The thing is, like I need to freaking take note of my Pokemon before I end the run. I need to like go into my box and like these are all the Pokemon that I have.
Just do a little. Make a spreadsheet, classic Parker move.
I refuse. You can do it. You can make me a spreadsheet.
I could. We could turn it into like a graph or any kind of something. It'd be great. Mega Man asks, who needs to be canceled and why is it Scootish?
He probably said something dumb, I'm sure.
Oh, Scoot. Oh, Jackson. That's all.
Were you there when we were talking about that? When did that even? When was it? What? Oh, I was talking about. So it was when I was streaming 3D World the first time to test online with Jackson and Mega Man and all that stuff. And Mega Man did something that made me mad, and like I almost called him Jamie. Like I almost did the thing that like my mom and my ex did, where it's like Anthony, like that whole thing. And I would never call him
Anthony James Jr.
That's not it.
I know. That's the joke.
But anyways, I almost did that, like just reflexively. And I was like, I don't call Jackson by his name. And like, I know him. Like I've physically met Jackson.
Yeah, right.
Like I physically met Jackson before
I met him as Jackson.
It wasn't even I didn't know him on Twitter. We didn't send tweets back and forth or DM or nothing like that. I met Jackson as a person IRL for the first time, but I still almost exclusively call him Scootish.
Just rolls off the tongue,
more specifically, I almost exclusively call him Scoot.
True.
That's pretty much it. And we were talking about that.
And there it is. Wiltron3030 asked, what's holding Square back from releasing its 16-bit Final Fantasy games on Switch, particularly Final Fantasy VI? I guess they'd like to give us the mobile port, if anything, and apparently that wasn't so hot. But it would be way more convenient than booting up my SNES Classic. And for that matter, what's Nintendo's holding up with putting Earthbound on NSO? These are
money.
Yeah.
I don't know about Earthbound. Earthbound, I feel like they're just like, nah, man, we'll do it eventually. But I think with Square Enix, it's like I think that they're trying to do it in a way that they can like super monetize it, right? Like, because what people want is them to just throw it up on their virtual console style, and they're all $7. But they're not going to do that. They're going to do Final Fantasy Collection. It's $60. It has the first 6 games. Not even. It has the first 3 games, and then they're going to do Final Fantasy Collection 2, and it has the next 3 games after that.
I mean, that said, though, I mean, I agree I think that'll be a physical collection that would be like that. But Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and 9 and stuff are on the Switch for like, they go on sale for like $8 for 7 or something like that. But the physical version is the multi-pack. So like, I do think it's weird. Like, I've thought this for a while, that like, it's weird that those aren't somewhere. And like, maybe it's in talks with Nintendo of like, maybe we'll put it on NSO at some point, but maybe not. And that's like why it's taken so long. But same thing goes for like Chrono Trigger's not anywhere on there. And like some other ones where like
Chrono Trigger feels like it's in the Earthbound category though.
Yeah.
Chrono Trigger is like, it's like mythical at this point where they know how valuable it is. So they're like, we're just gonna like, tease that at you guys.
I mean, the other option is that they want to do an actual like HD 2D HD whatever port of it or something like that.
And that's like what I'm thinking. Like I think that's probably what they're going to do, like do like the first 3 and then do that HD 2D, and then the 3 after that do that HD 2D, and then call it a day.
I mean, it makes sense because like Final Fantasy 7 is super iconic, obviously, and they're doing the remake for that. So like Final Fantasy 6 specifically is also quite iconic, like not as much as 7, I'd say, but
I don't think I know anything about 6. Who's the character in 6? What is his name?
I don't know the answer to that.
So there,
but it is like. Yeah, no, it's obviously not as iconic, but it's like classic turn-based, like one of the higher regarded
I think I literally know 4 Final Fantasy characters' names. I know Cloud. I know freaking Aerith. I know Sephiroth. I know Barrett.
So they're all from 7.
Yep, that's all the characters I know.
I mean, that's about same for me.
I know Noctis. He's from Final Fantasy 15. I know
that's
that
true
because I played that game.
I played the first
Ignis,
2 hours.
I think is one of them. Ignis is
probably. I played the first couple hours of 12, and I don't remember any of the characters' names. So
I'm not playing 12. I can't press the square button and have them attack, so I don't care about any of those games.
So Wiltron, very valid questions that I've wondered the same thing for a while. I think the answer is that they know that they're going to do it eventually, but there's question mark thing holding it up somewhere, and probably it's wanting to the right time, or like AJ said, like the right medium or something like that just hasn't happened yet, I guess. Dirt Marco said, what type of podcast or music do you listen to while gaming nowadays? Is there a certain person you like to listen to, and do you guys share any common interests in that genre?
Podcasts, I mostly listen to like Rooster Teeth's podcast and or not Rooster Teeth's podcast, like not RT podcast anymore, because like that's it's just them talking about the pandemic the whole time pretty much, and it's just like, that's not interesting, dude. It's like so I saw 2 people this month, it's like, I don't care about that. But like their stable of podcasts, there's like other like I was listening what is it called Decoded or something like that. That's not what it's called. Deconstructed or some crap. Decoded or something. What is it called? What is it?
While you look that up, I'll say this. I'm listening to very few podcasts these days. I don't have a commute, so like the podcast list that I had is
he said while gaming.
Yeah, that's typically I just don't while gaming anyway.
How dare you?
I honestly, more often than not.
That's what it's called. Dissect. I freaking.
Dissect.
Oh my god! But that podcast I listen to sometimes. But the other one, the one that like I like when it comes out, I'm like, oh, I'm listening to that. I can't say it here because it's a bad word. It's a Rooster Teeth podcast, and it's basically the Rooster Teeth podcast before the Rooster Teeth podcast became them complaining about the pandemic.
Yeah, right.
But it's called F Face. That's what it's called.
Nice.
Well, technically, they have like the podcast is like called F asterisk K FACE. Like that's what it's called. And every time they say it in the show, like they curse and they don't
bleep out the name.
Yeah, they don't bleep out their curse words. Like when they're just saying, oh, F, like they don't bleep that out, but they bleep out the F word when they say the name of the podcast. So it's
that's
like
fun.
Face.
I appreciate the consistency.
The commitment to the fact that they can't just straight up list, or they could, but it wouldn't be as marketable to just call a podcast F word face and put it on iTunes.
It's a good bit. Yeah. Man. And as far as like listening to music, I don't listen to music typically while playing games anyway either. I listen to music a lot, but it's like while I'm working or like to play drums along to or something like that. So
I listen to music when I'm listening. See, the thing about it's hard to like say I listen to this type of music when I play video games because most of the time when I listen to music, I go on YouTube Music and I click the super mix button or whatever, and whatever happens is what I'm listening to, So like
that's what I do with my like songs on Spotify, and it'll be like, I don't know, some kind of silent plan or something like super heavy.
I used to see that's the thing. Like before I started using
like
YouTube Music specifically, and I use like Google Music because it's free with the YouTube Premium. Before people would use Spotify, no, I don't want to pay for Spotify. I almost did when I saw the FOMO of the Spotify Wrapped or whatever. I almost did it just for that, just so I can do that next year. But at the same time, I know that that's their plan. I have a marketing brain, so I refuse. I refuse to give them the money for that FOMO.
Stats, man. Stats will get you.
Yep. So it's like,
they're doing the spreadsheets for you. They're the me in your potential relationship.
Exactly. So it's like, but I have multiple people that I have like that I'm like friends with on any level that like are significantly more interested in spreadsheets than I am. That I'll never make a spreadsheet. Like Youth Hurt wanted me to make a spreadsheet because I was like, I don't want to make a spreadsheet. That's a project. And she guilt tripped me and she was like, you want to do a project for me? I'm like, wow. Like, that's what we're doing now. So it's like, I don't know what's up with y'all. Why do y'all like spread? Y'all are weird. I don't want to make a spreadsheet. Do it for me. All that to say, I don't know what type of music I listen to specifically because I'm not like, I'm going to play that. It's just like an amalgamation of songs that the Google algorithm knows I'm interested in from clicking the like button and things that are like related to that,
Yep. Yeah, man.
And not even entire, like it'll be at this point because I listen to mostly like R&B and hip hop and stuff like that, but I also like stuff that's not that. So if I click the like button on that, it just all, it's a whole bunch of different genres all over the place.
Yeah, so that's nice. That's why I appreciate the Discover Weekly stuff on Spotify. Although sometimes it really makes some assumptions that I'm like, no, you're incredibly incorrect about where you decided to go with that one. But a lot of times it's also right. So that's fun. Grim Hain asked, why are people mad that Square Enix put Kingdom Hearts on the Epic Game Store when an EGS account is free and Square Enix uses Unreal Engine for their games? Related question, how can we get these people off this planet?
Tribe mentality. People are stupid. And I don't know. I've been thinking about it for my whole life. The last question.
Yeah. Falcon said, not a question, but I wanted to take a moment and say big rip to Stadia now that it wasn't, not that it wasn't DOA anyway, but still, F in the chat. Rise Gang said, what do you think of Pyra/Mythra in Smash? For AJ specifically, do you like how they have the Pokemon trainer like swap between two characters? Yep. And do you think that this will make them one of the better characters because you'll be able to switch for different scenarios?
Yes, yes, and yes, and yes. Um, I wouldn't care about this character almost at all if they didn't have that. And I think that that's not specifically what makes them good. Not like the swap. Like I think swap makes Pokemon Trainer really good. Like how swap works makes Pokemon Trainer really good. The thing that makes it good for like the reason why Pyra and Mithra are good is because they balance each other really well. And that's not really swap dependent. Pokemon Trainer is just like you can get a lot of mixes off of the move Pokemon change. It doesn't even really have as much to do with the fact that they balance each other because they kind of don't. Like they all have the same weakness. Like they balance each other offensively pretty well, but defensively they all have the kind of the same problem. The only thing that like the only like check / balance to Pokemon Trainer defensively is that Squirtle small. That's literally it. But Ivysaur gets comboed, Charizard gets comboed, so it's like, eh.
Yeah.
But Pyra and Mithra, they balance each other better than that. So I think that is their biggest strength. That they are two characters, Switch specifically, I think is less so of a strength in the way that Pokemon Trainer is a strength. The swap is different ideologically, but it's in practice. I think they're good, but different for different. I mean, different but good.
Yeah. Sour Skrillex said, "Will Fall Guys on Switch be able to bring back a ton of players or revive the game, as some would say? If so, by how much would be a good estimate?"
Yes, for 17 days.
I mean, my
2 months tops.
My guess of it is like content creators have obviously moved off of Fall Guys. They'll come back a little bit for this. Some of them, or not even come back, just some new ones. Maybe will come in the fray or something that are most specifically Switch.
I think they're going to come back because I think that a lot of Switch YouTubers are going to play it. If not for the first time again, and that's going to have more people be like, oh yeah, Fall Guys exists, and it's also coming out on Xbox, so I think that there's going to be some sort of a renaissance. And
there will be,
but I don't think it's going to last
season pass stuff probably and all that
long. Yeah.
I think the other thing is probably it's not a Pokemon Go situation, but it's a mild version of that where it's like it's less dead than we think it is because the content creators are gone, so we don't see it all over the place,
right? Like it's not. I know I go over to my friend. It's not like a dead game. It's just not the game anymore. Exactly. And like if that's the question, if it's like, will it become the game? I think it will be the game for less than a month. But I think that a lot of people are going to be playing it, just generally.
Yep, agreed. And it'll be one of those two where like, people will see it on the eShop and just like Among Us, like I don't know how many people are buying Among Us on the Switch and are like, I know exactly what this game is and I have several friends that I'm going to play it with. Or whatever. Like I think for a lot of people, it's like, oh, I've seen Among Us. It's only $5. Like I don't really...
It's like buying a pack of like cards, like regular cards. Like not everybody...
Playing cards.
Yeah, exactly. Like not everybody uses them often, but like just because it's like they're super cheap and you'll probably use them occasionally
in your repertoire. Yeah, exactly
like
so good question. Last up, Falcon says, if you stack
this question
I know, I just saw it. If you stack one lasagna on top of another, how many do you have now? Bonus question, what's the plural of lasagna? Is it lasagne? It's probably not, but it seems like the more scientific answer. And a face with a monocle. #FanatixFoods.
Yo, it's been a minute since we have Fanatics Food, specifically Fanatics Foods. Like, I think we still have like food questions, but it's been a while since they used the branding. It's 2 lasagnas, especially if it's good lasagna. Like if it's good lasagna, it's 2 lasagnas. And Bob talked about this where it's like, because usually like good lasagna has like the crunchy layers, dude. Yeah. Like
I think that's definitely, that's the thing is like it would be like, it would be like putting a a burger on top of another burger and saying this is a Big Mac.
See, and that's the thing. So okay, so this was
because a Big Mac has one bun in between them, as opposed to two buns. I think
Bob mentioned that too.
Yeah.
But it's like a different type of bun and all that stuff. But like that was like a thing for Rooster Teeth specifically. One of their like personalities was like somebody said, but like that's like putting a burger on top of a burger, and then they literally did it, and then like they got 2 freaking like double cheeseburgers from McDonald's and like mushed them together, and like, see, 1 burger, and it's like, no, you're an idiot. Like, it's 2 burgers.
Yeah. No, I mean, so yeah, I agree. It's still, if you do it pre-cooking, then it could be 1 lasagna.
Yeah, because ultimately, like, 1 lasagna is just however many layers you decide to put. Because like lasagna is not like a standard measurement. It's not like lasagna has exactly 3 layers, you know. So it's like, it just depends on how many layers you put on it if you didn't cook it yet. But if you cooked it and you did it right, it's like the top layer is going to be like crunchy, you know.
And the plural of lasagna is lasagna.
It's like a Pokemon. It's just lasagna.
It's shorter. You take off some letters. It's lasagne.
It's lasagne. All right.
There are many lasagne around. There it is. We figured it out.
We did it.
And we figured out how to end the podcast.
How many layers do you put on your lasagna? Let me know in the comments.
Good stuff. All right. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye. Bye.